so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months, and even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff, even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm going to keep ticking. But no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, everyone. Let's all stop what we're doing right now and take a moment. That felt good, huh? Just like that, we had a nice, special sort of moment together. Of course, they don't all need to be quiet moments to be special. They could be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments, moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. Sounds like somebody agrees. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Today, call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Ranger station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear hug.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Well, we were building a bonfire, and I saw some, dry brush and leaves around, so, I said to move the bonfire somewhere else, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear shows up and hugs me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. He likes it when people help prevent wildfires. It hits him close to home. Not everybody gets the hug, my friend. So that's pretty special to get a hug from Smokey Bear.
So it was him. Hey, guys, I told you it was Smokey.
Okay, well, congratulations, my friend. And thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. Waking up every day, lifting him from the bed to the wheelchair to the car to get him therapy on time. It's no small task between the doctors and the diagnosis, but nothing can disable this love. This is my big brother, my hero. He's part of me, like my arms and legs. So I'll be his. See, there's no time for tired. This starts again tomorrow. He'll be waiting for me. I wake up for him. I know he needs me, but I'm the lucky one. Even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community, or call 877-333-5885. Caregiving Resource Center. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do. Tell the world I see with an emoji to stop the bullies.
Know someone who's being bullied online? Send the witness emoji. It looks like an eye in a speech bubble, and it's in the symbol section near the clocks in your phone. You'll let the world know it isn't cool, and you'll let your friend know you care. Learn more about the witness emoji at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. Feedthepig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
Break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? When floodwaters reach your door? When wildfires are engulfing the edge of your neighborhood? Or an earthquake is destroying buildings? When a tornado is tearing through town? Or a hurricane strikes? Or is the best time perhaps today? During a disaster, you may not be able to stay in touch with your family or friends as easily as you think. And it's not always as simple as using your cell phone. That's why now is the time to take action. Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Could Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick team up next year? I think so. Jerry Jones says that Mike McCarthy could get an extension. And Khalil Mack says that Derrick Henry isn't hard to play against. And much, much more on the new episode of Jabba in the Mouth. They're going to give him a significant. They're going to have a ton of money to spend. Why not put it in one of the top 3 offensive players in the league? We're going to be looking at Aaron Judge and saying that he can't win the big game. Michael Jordan said, I played 82 games. You don't see LeBron doing that.
This is a game where you got to go perform.
I told you, Giant fans, and Saquon Barkley at this point. I'm gonna fight them all. A 7-nation army couldn't hold me back. They're gonna rip it off. Take it down. Say whatever you want about Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. Really? And I'm talking to myself at night because I can't forget. Welcome to a new show of Jabba and the Mouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Jabba Chamberlain, and Speedy Petey. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. As everybody knows, our executive producer, Mr. Aaron Fishman, on the board as always. And our Sports Minute, Tommy Scoops, in the building as always. And by the way, Owen the Tick will not be joining us tonight as he's helping family out with the holidays. So shout out to Mr. Tick himself. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Jabba and the Mouth show every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Tommy Downs, he's on right now. Mr. Downey is hanging out with us tonight. Jabba, what's up, man?
Same shit, different toilet. You know, it's the way it goes.
Drops, that's for damn sure. I mean, it definitely drops, and hopefully you have the toilet paper. I don't tonight. So hopefully somebody has something to wipe. Nate, what's up, buddy? How we all doing tonight? Speedy, what's up, man?
My toilet does not involve any of that, Jabba.
We didn't ask you about your toilet.
But hopefully everybody enjoys whatever the Festivus equivalent is of for Thanksgiving today, 2 days before.
Well, obviously Thanksgiving Eve is tomorrow, and I know everybody's enjoying their Thanksgiving Eve, probably going out, hanging out, as it's the biggest party time of the year. I will be DJing tomorrow at the Wharf over there in Oakdale, so if you want to come out and check out and have a little bit of good drinking and having a great time DJing and listening to music, well, you can come and check us out in Oakdale. But it'll be a fun night tomorrow. And then obviously some turkey and some ham and some, dessert on Wednesday. We're obviously, Jabba, you're not big into the holiday. Are you doing anything on Wednesday?
Well, obviously, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving.
No, I know that. But are you doing anything? Are you going to have some dinner?
I'm still going to eat.
Oh, okay. I know you're not into the whole the holiday, but I know you're going to eat something. Are you going maybe taking your girlfriend out or something like that? Or I don't know what you're doing. Is there
We're
something?
Gonna eat. We're gonna make stuff. I'm gonna make a ham. I'm gonna do all that stuff. Yeah, I'm still gonna do it, but I don't celebrate this garbage holiday.
Listen, he's going to be digging. He's just going to be digging in many different ways. And we'll have to ask your girlfriend after the holiday how far he was digging. Speedy, you know what I'm talking about.
Jabba digging a ditch. I have a hard time believing that.
Well, I'm not talking about digging a ditch. He might be doing something else at the end of the night, right?
He might be. Maybe it involves those mountains.
Well, I doubt that, but he might be climbing another mountain. And maybe he'd invite you if you're you're in Nebraska. Maybe you can join him.
Maybe I would, but maybe we could invite one of the other mountains that have been on our show.
Well, I'm not talking about that kind of mountain, but if you want to climb that mountain, you're more than welcome to.
Nah, I'm good.
Oh, well, obviously. But
we'll touch on that later. We'll touch on that later.
Absolutely. We definitely need to touch on that. But, it's crazy with all the different holidays that are coming up. And obviously, Jabba is not one of those guys that celebrate these holidays. He doesn't celebrate Christmas. He doesn't celebrate.
No, I celebrate Christmas.
Oh, you do? Well, you just said it's a garbage. These are garbage holidays. So
not Thanksgiving. Do you know why I don't celebrate Thanksgiving?
Why don't you celebrate Thanksgiving? Why don't you let everybody know why you don't celebrate Thanksgiving?
Have a little feel. I'm native.
I'm feeling it right now. I've got 2 nuts. That's about all I feel.
Why would I, as a native, celebrate Thanksgiving?
I don't know. Makes sense. I mean, obviously, you don't believe in
Educate yourself, Errol.
I don't need to educate myself. I mean, obviously, we understand the reasoning why you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but nevertheless, it's still a holiday, a festive holiday to eat some food. So I guess don't call it Thanksgiving. Call it Jabba giving, okay? Call it giving the jobs.
It's
Or
always
Jobster of all
it's always Friendsgiving. It's always Friendsgiving.
Well, somebody's got to give me a give. Speedy, what do you want to do? You want to give me a give?
You could
You want to grab my give? You want to grab?
I don't want to grab anything on your body.
Well, you can grab something. There's something that has to be grabbed,
and it's not going to be by me. You have a girlfriend. Figure it out.
Well, I don't need to figure anything out. It's you that needs to figure it out.
No,
obviously,
no, it's not.
I mean, you can hang out with us. We could teach you.
No.
I mean, you could watch.
No.
You could take pictures.
No.
I mean, we can really get involved, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm never taking pictures of
We
any of
can
that
share.
nonsense.
Sharing is caring.
All right, then find somebody who had those beliefs.
Thanksgiving is a sharing holiday. I'll thank you for sharing with me.
And nothing will be involving
You can
grabbing.
Well, we can grab.
No.
And we can have a lot of fun.
No.
I mean,
Hey, let's grab something though. What is it called?
Exactly.
There we go. That's a much better thing to grab. Thank you, Java, for being the voice of reason.
Well, I don't know about the voice of reasoning, but hey, there's a lot of voice of reasoning. And as our sponsors right now, and you can see it right now in Ice Shaker, founded by NFL fullback or former NFL fullback Chris Gronkowski. Ice Shaker was developed with one goal in mind: to help people live an active and healthy lifestyle by providing them with an ultimate drinking vessel for their nutrition and hydration needs. And ladies and gentlemen, for the holiday, check out Ice Shaker Black Friday sale by going to iceshaker.com, ladies and gentlemen. Ice Shaker will have a 25% off Black Friday sale going on with coupon code Black Ice. You said it. I've said it. It's right on the screen. Black Ice. Get your Ice Shaker. As we all know, we all have one. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Go check out iceshaker.com. Sweetie, you go in Ice Shaker.
I'm sharing the page, so clearly I am.
But that's not what I'm asking. Are you going to Ice Shaker and getting something for the holidays for your family?
I would have to put that in mind.
Well, you don't have to put it in mind. You got to go to it. I mean, it's 25% off. Go over there and check out Ice Shaker, ladies and gentlemen. Speedy gets free, but family doesn't. So you have to go 25% off. Maybe we'll reach out to Chris and you'll get 30%. Just for you, Speedy, the Speedster. Oh, there you go. Tom Downey buying himself one. And by the way, these are beautiful. Look at this. The American flag. Wonderful look. And Speedy, you know, you celebrate Thanksgiving. You're going home to the family, right?
I am going to the family tomorrow.
Who's coming out?
All my brothers.
How about his girlfriend?
And yes.
Are you going to share?
She lives there.
Are you going to share?
What?
Are you going to
even
share?
talking
Are you
about?
going to share his girlfriend?
Oh, they gonna share?
It's sharing. It's sharing. It's
Java,
caring.
Java, the first part of that statement, is the correct answer to that.
I think it's great, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
I'm sure
I
you're.
think sharing is caring.
I'm
and
sure
we're
your
all
shameless.
family.
I'm sure your shameless society will think that way.
It is freedom.
No,
it's
not.
freedom to touch.
No,
it's freedom
it's
to
not.
eat. It's freedom to suck. There you go.
Anyway, freedom to say that's gross.
What? It's not gross. Sharing is caring. I get it.
That's right.
All right,
We
you
gotta share.
and Errol could coexist in some random society.
We're a team. We share.
You and Java could coexist in a random society where that's a norm.
It's the gift of mayhem. It is gifts. Gifts. It's all about giving. And I'm going to give it.
That's all we can give.
That's it. And I'm going to.
I wasn't pulling anything.
I am going to give you a gift, and you deserve it. And that is the happiness of grabbing. And you can grab. No. What would you like to grab?
That's not the happiness of anything.
Well, aren't you going to eat
yeah,
your breast?
Yeah. Go deal with your turkey.
Aren't you going to eat your breasts
Go
for
deal
the holiday?
Go duel your turkey. That's right. This show is perfect timing.
At 8:30, we'll be talking to former Broncos, Ravens, and Jets defensive lineman Trevor Pryce will be joining us. He's been on our show. Trevor is a great personality. We had some fun with him the last time he was on. I think he was outside hanging out, and we really had a good time with Trevor. It got dark, and it was getting a little dark out, and Speedy actually got scared for Trevor because he's afraid of the dark.
I did not get scared.
You are afraid of the dark, are you not?
What the are you even talking about?
Are you not afraid of the dark?
I don't know where you hear these rumors.
Well, are you afraid of it?
No.
Then why do you sleep? Well, hold on one second.
What are you even talking
Why
about?
do you stay up at night? Because you're afraid
If
of the
I was
dark.
afraid of the dark, that contradicts your entire point.
Not true. You don't want to go to sleep because you're afraid of the dark.
What are you even talking about? If I was afraid of the dark, I wouldn't want to be awake during the dark.
Speaking of being afraid, Pro Football Talk reports that Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick teaming up with a new team next offseason is a strong possibility. Did I not say that? Bill Belichick said that Aaron Rodgers still has great accuracy and a quick release on his throws, despite losing some mobility. Belichick also thinks that Aaron Rodgers has been playing hurt all year and compared him to Rodney Harrison when he signed with the Patriots. Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show that Belichick was one of the classiest coaches he ever played against. The Saints and Raiders would be the most likely candidates for this coach and quarterback pairing. Rodgers had 2,442 yards, 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and an 88.9 passer rating this season. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've been saying this over and over and over again. The Love Fest and the Love Shack is here, ladies and gentlemen, as Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick's pairing is starting to release. It's starting to smell. It's starting to be a talk of the town. And who brought it up 1 week ago? Yours truly, because I have been saying this over and over and over again. Aaron Rodgers last week came out and said at a press, well, actually, it didn't come through the press conference, but he pretty much stated he does not want to be a New York Jet next year, which means he will be a free agent. And Bill Belichick and Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show has some kind of love fest for one another. I don't know what it is, and I could understand Aaron Rodgers and his love fest for Bill Belichick, but his love fest, as far as Bill Belichick concerned, for Aaron Rodgers makes no sense, okay? Because we all know that Tom Brady was his quarterback for over 20 years. And we all know that Aaron Rodgers is a completely different quarterback than Tom Brady. So I understand the greatness and why Bill Belichick loves Aaron Rodgers. I could understand that. But I can't understand why he loves Aaron Rodgers and believes that Aaron Rodgers would be a good fit under his offense. Okay? It doesn't make any sense. But again, it's all about respect. Both the coach and the quarterback have a lot of respect for one another. There's no question that they do. But again, Aaron Rodgers, for some reason, over the last couple of seasons, has come out and said some interesting things on social media and even to the press. And one thing that just is very disturbing to me is the fact that when you're talking about leaving an organization that you kept pushing and pushing for when it comes to bringing Devontae Adams and when it comes to bringing some of your guys over from the Green Bay Packers to this organization in the New York Jets, and then all of a sudden, within weeks of the last couple of games, there are stories coming out that you don't want to be there. You want nothing to do with this team or this organization. And it reminds me, maybe this is why they agree with a lot of different things. Bill Belichick walked out on the Jets within 24 hours, and Aaron Rodgers, in his first full season, is sick of the New York Jets, and he's about to walk out of them before the season's end. It is so filling that you look at Aaron Rodgers and the complete disrespect that now he has for the organization in the New York Jets, and Bill Belichick for all those years where Jet fans were so pissed off at Bill Belichick getting the job from Bill Parcells and within 24 hours walking away from the job, going to the New England Patriots, and then winning multiple, actually 6 Super Bowls with Tom Brady as a 6th-round draft pick. It's just very, very disturbing. Now, obviously, the fact that Aaron Rodgers is a guy that is going to be looking for a new team and a new organization, and Bill Belichick, who will go to an organization that is probably going to look for a quarterback because he's going to want full control. And as we've said, the Saints. Now, if Bill Belichick goes to the Saints, it wouldn't make any sense that Aaron Rodgers would go there because Derek Carr is there. And unless they're deciding to move or trade Derek Carr, who's going to want that contract, by the way? I don't know if anybody's going to want that contract. So that wouldn't make any sense. The Raiders make complete sense. You know why? Because Tom Brady is partial owner of that team. He owns 10% of the Raiders. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, even though over the last couple of years have had back and forth banter with one another, offset as a coach and quarterback. Nevertheless, I don't know if anybody's watched the what was that Patriots?
The Dynasty.
The Dynasty documentary, and Bill Belichick was getting his fingers pointed at not only from Tom Brady but from the whole team, including Robert Kraft. But nevertheless, if Bill Belichick goes over there, Tom Brady has ownership, and why wouldn't Aaron Rodgers go over there? He would be. But what makes no sense is Davante Adams just left there. Would Davante Adams actually go back there if Bill Belichick and Aaron Rodgers goes over there? It doesn't make any sense. I don't think that's going to work. I did say that it would make a lot of sense if Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick team up for at least 1 season, maybe 2 seasons, because Aaron Rodgers came out and said that he would be willing to or love to be coached by Bill Belichick. I just don't think this is the same Aaron Rodgers he once was with the Green Bay Packers. He doesn't have the mobility. He does have the accuracy. Now, in a Bill Belichick offense, you don't need the mobility to run his offense. It's really fast release passes, getting guys in the right spots, short passes, and let the wide receivers and running backs beat you on the inside and the out. It would make sense to how it would fit. It just doesn't make any sense on if Bill Belichick goes to the Raiders, how that would fit with Aaron Rodgers going over there, especially if he wants Davante Adams, because you know damn well if Aaron Rodgers leaves the Jets, Davante Adams is gone. He can opt out of his contract. He will be afraid. It wouldn't make any sense why he would go back to the Raiders. It wouldn't, even though he never wanted to leave the Raiders. Right. He really never did. His family's from that area, but it would look really, really bad if Davante Adams forced his way out of the Raiders organization because he couldn't stand the Raiders organization, and then to go back there because Bill Belichick and Aaron Rodgers is there now. It doesn't make any sense. So the Saints and the Raiders don't make any sense, but maybe the Jaguars do. Now, I said this over and over and over again, that the Jaguars organization would give Bill Belichick full control of the organization. He would give them full control. And with Bill Belichick as the GM and as the coach, he would be able to go after the quarterback of his choosing. But guess what? They just gave Trevor Lawrence a huge contract in the offseason. So they would have to move that contract. Who's going to take a contract of Trevor Lawrence, who really has not been worth the money that they paid him in the offseason? He was overpaid, he's an overachiever at his numbers. I just think there's a lot of questions to obviously putting two and two together with Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick banding together and trying to win a Super Bowl. Bill Belichick makes sense to go to the Jaguars. It makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense to go to the Raiders because obviously there's a coach that was over there just a few, 2 years ago? Yeah. And Josh McDaniels. Now, you know, if Bill Belichick goes to the Raiders, he's probably bringing Josh McDaniels as his offensive coordinator. That's not going to make any sense, especially what Davis did to Josh McDaniels. So that's not going to. Now, if he goes to the Jaguars, it makes a lot of sense. But what are they going to do with Trevor Lawrence? Are you going to have Aaron Rodgers be Trevor Lawrence's backup? Or are you going to have Trevor Lawrence be Aaron Rodgers' backup? And is Aaron Rodgers going to take less money. Now, if he obviously, if the Jets decide to part ways with Aaron Rodgers, they're going to have to trade him because he's still under contract. He can't opt. The Jets. He can't opt out of the contract, and the Jets still owe Aaron Rodgers $75 million. So I don't know how that would work with Trevor Lawrence unless the Jets and the Jaguars make a deal which would send Trevor Lawrence to the New York Jets, and Aaron Rodgers would go to the Jaguars, and the Jets would have to add an additional piece or a draft pick to get Trevor Lawrence. Now, that could work, but would Bill Belichick do that, and will the ownership allow that to happen? I don't know. Now, are all questions who the Jets bring in as their head coach and where they go in that route. There's a lot of questions to this and how it would work. But I am not surprised that this story has come out, that Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick are talking. And I know they're speaking because they're on Pat McAfee's show every single week. They have a love fest for one another. They kiss each other's ass. And they talk such great high praise for each other. It wouldn't surprise me if these guys band together, if it's the right place.
The Raiders seem like the best combination for that kind of thing.
How?
Like, what is their other option? Like, they don't have a lot of other options.
Josh McDaniels going to come back as the offensive coordinator?
Probably. I'm not saying it's going to work, but, like, the Raiders don't have much other options left. Like, this is a terrible quarterback class. No quarterback's going to want to go over there. And at this point, like, Tom Brady has the sway to get Bill Belichick there and give him the control he wants. You talk about Bill Belichick rejecting teams to not get the control they want. Mark Davis, as an owner, like, what point do you have of trying to just bring in these new GMs that are not going to want to go to a team that's awful right now? Now, obviously, Bill Belichick with his legacy, where is he going to want to coach to try to win some games? Another question. Are there going to be a winning team, a team that's been a playoff team that's going to overpay for Bill Belichick to try to get him there to maybe win them that? But if this combination happens, Devontae Adams liked it there, even though he wanted out because of Josh McDaniels.
The Jaguars make the most sense. It would make the most sense.
At the same time, Speedy, too, like, don't you think Belichick's going to have that in his back pocket where he can kind of decide on what he wants to do and who he wants to have and where he decides to go with? But where is that best fit with what you can do and bring in?
Well, yeah, best fit is, I think, different than where it would actually be realistic for this combination for both Bill Belichick and Aaron Rodgers. I think independent from Aaron Rodgers, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to look for a head coach. Like if Bill Belichick wanted to go coach the Chicago Bears, like obviously it would make more sense to coach than the Raiders. But in terms of like Bill Belichick and Aaron Rodgers combination together, I don't think the Saints have enough money to make it work because there's going to be a salary cap hell next year. I don't think the Jets, because Bill Belichick and the Jets have a grudge, so there's no way that's going to happen. So it really only leaves the Raiders just because they're a very flashy organization. There's a reason they're in the rumors with Shador and Deion Sanders too. Like it's Las Vegas. They want these big names. They want to be talked about, even if it's going to be the most negative attention in the world. You don't think they want like Mark Davis and this team wants to be talked about? There's a reason they moved to Vegas. And if it becomes a catastrophic failure, the number one pick in 2026, maybe they draft a good quarterback in a good quarterback class.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but at the same time, like as this is brought up and what we're seeing, there's so many aspects of this of moving and shaking and how you bring people in. But at the same time, we all know Bill Belichick can decide what the hell he wants to do himself. Sure. And who he wants to bring in and who he wants to have. Where is the right move and where is it with the right organization to be able to?
The Jaguars are the only organization that I think fits with Bill Belichick, and if he wants to bring Aaron Rodgers, because the ownership would let him take over as the GM. Now, the only thing that doesn't make any sense is the Trevor Lawrence contract. What are they going to do with that? Are they going to? Now, there are other teams that would be interested in Trevor Lawrence, but are they willing to pay him $55 million? That's the only thing right now. If they didn't give Trevor Lawrence, now they had 2 years left to decide if they're going to extend Trevor Lawrence and give him $55.5 million like they did this offseason, which Jeff was wrong about that. But I will say this, now that they've got stuck with this contract, that's the only problem. That would be the only reason that would set Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick being connected with one another in the offseason on a team. There's no way Davante Adams goes back there. There's no way that if Josh McDaniels goes over there, Davante Adams wants to be coached or have him as his offensive coordinator. That's not going to happen because him and Josh McDaniels did not like each other. As a matter of fact, he was the reason why Josh McDaniels got fired. Okay, so that wouldn't make any sense either. Wherever Aaron Rodgers goes in the offseason, that's where Davante Adams is going. There is no question because Davante Adams is going to opt out of his contract. He has the opportunity in the offseason to part ways with the New York Jets. And that's exactly what he is going to do as he screwed the New York Jets, as the Jets gave up a third-round draft, something that Joe Douglas did not do. That was another Aaron Rodgers move. That was what Aaron Rodgers wanted. Joe Douglas obliged him. And now Aaron Rodgers wants his way out of there. And I do believe Davante Adams is going to go follow wherever Aaron Rodgers decides he wants to go. Now, here's the thing, and we can go back to this. We're going to try to spin the wheel, make the deal on where Bill Belichick is going in the offseason. It made a lot of sense that if Bill Belichick went to Atlanta, that would make unbelievable sense on Aaron Rodgers going to Atlanta and connecting with Bill Belichick next year. Well, obviously in 2025. But Bill Belichick obviously got thrown to the wolves, and they decided to go with Raheem Morris. And Bill Belichick has no job, but there are going to be at least 7 teams available to bring in a coach. There was another conversation that I had with somebody off air that Chicago would be another place for Bill Belichick. Now, Chicago obviously could part ways with their GM in the offseason. Especially what has happened with Eberflus. You decided to keep Eberflus. It really makes ownership really look bad. Why not bring Bill Belichick over there? But guess what? Caleb Williams is there. Caleb Williams, and you have a tremendous amount of talent defensively and offensively over there. You just need to help a little bit out of that offensive line on the right side. And this team could absolutely be a contender next year in a very hard division. But Aaron Rodgers wouldn't go there unless Bill Belichick comes in and says, listen, Caleb, I want you to sit behind Aaron Rodgers, learn behind Aaron Rodgers next year. And then the year after, you'll be taking over with the Bears after you get a little bit of a handle of my offense. I don't know, but there has to be a team that's going to tell that rookie or young quarterback or even a veteran quarterback to take take a hike. I'm bringing in Aaron Rodgers. There's nothing you can do about it. So
that's what Aaron did with Brett Favre.
Yes,
that's what he did with Brett Favre.
That's what Love did with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly. And we've seen how it worked. Like, okay, yeah, I'm going to be a first round pick or whatever, but at the same time, it's like, okay, if I've got to sit and chew on my Skittles for a little bit, but I'm going to learn from them, right? And I'm going to see how they move and shake and how it makes them successful. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Tell me if I'm wrong. If you think that's a bad thing where, yeah, we're investing a lot into this, right? But let him learn and see what he can do and then learn from him. And then boom, we've seen how it's worked. It's worked when it's happened. That's really all it is.
The only thing with Caleb Williams might be, we're talking about the emotional ending of it with Caleb Williams, is he could actually be mature enough to take that kind of thing on because of like him crying in the games and stuff like that too. Like, would he be that type of guy when he's this quote unquote generational talent that everyone thinks? And maybe the same kind of thing with Trevor Lawrence that I was talking about with the Jaguars. He was thought of that way too. Best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck.
That's the only team that would make a lot of sense for Bill Belichick. And I've been saying that really since the season started, that the Jaguars are going to be looking for a new coach because I did not believe Doug Peterson was going to last this year. If Trevor Lawrence wasn't going to take this team to the playoffs in a division that was wide open, I'm sorry, the Texans are a good team, but CJ Stroud's going into a second year, his sophomore year. He's having a good season. Is he having the freshman season that he had last year? No, but that's an open division. And now you're looking at the Jaguars. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL. And Trevor Lawrence just got $55.5 million. He is the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL right now. Is he worth that money? No. Bill Belichick, if he goes over there, which they are firing their GM, they are firing their head coach, that makes a lot of sense because he has full control of that team and that organization. Ownership over there, their billionaire owner. He would love Bill Belichick to come in and run his organization for the next 3 to 4 years. Bill Belichick's in his mid-70s. How many years is he going to coach? Probably 3 or 4. He's going to want to go for a championship. This team, this defense, even though they've had a very bad season. They still have some good defensive options in Josh Allen. They have one of the better, more underrated linebackers in the league that's not had a very good season, but they have a pretty decent defense, and they have a bunch of good young players you can build your team around. So it would make a lot of sense on why Bill Belichick would go over there. The only thing that doesn't make any sense, going back to it, is if Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick are planning or even thinking about combining with one another for at least a season or two, why it wouldn't work with the Jaguars unless they move Trevor Lawrence. There is no way you're keeping a $55.5 million quarterback on the bench and have to pay Aaron Rodgers. There's no way. There's no possible way that works.
No.
So it would have to be Aaron Rodgers talking Bill Belichick into trading Trevor Lawrence to the Jets, and the Jets willing to take that $55.5 million contract. And again, I don't see the Jets not saying yes to that. I mean, depending on if it's Ben Johnson, if Ben Johnson takes the job, Trevor Lawrence is a young quarterback, still in a prime of his career. What is he, 26 years old? You bring in a young Ben Johnson. You see what he did with Jared Goff. It would make sense that he has his future quarterback. And look what Jared Goff did after he transitioned from the Rams to the Lions. Maybe transition and head to another team, another organization, and a better offensive mind. Maybe he really develops into the quarterback everybody thought he was going to be, which is generational.
Yep. And you need that kind of team to get the right combination. Maybe that's a backup plan for the Raiders. If they lose out on Aaron Rodgers, Bill Belichick sweepstakes, maybe they take on Trevor Lawrence. They can handle it financially. And you need that right combination to make it work. Any of these teams trying to take this kind of risk. That's why it's going to limit the market as it is. Like I said, the Saints, I don't think really have a shot financially. The Cleveland, another team that doesn't have a shot financially to trade for a quarterback. If they were to, maybe they are available for Trevor Lawrence, but they're not going to have the money to do that kind of thing either. And that's what makes it interesting. The other thing is you mentioned Josh McDaniels too. You wonder if, say, another one of his coordinators become available, if that could be encouraging for somebody like Devontae Adams to go back to the Raiders as well. Maybe if it's not Josh McDaniels, maybe it's Bill O'Brien, lure him back from college, or Brian Dable if he gets fired by the Giants.
Now, the Cleveland Browns are an interesting organization too. You know why? Because Bill Belichick failed over there in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. If you remember, right. Bill Belichick was over there in Cleveland after he left the Giants. It didn't work out over there. Maybe Bill Belichick goes there for another stint, but what are they doing with Deshaun Watson? How are they moving that contract? So that's the only thing. Unless Deshaun Watson retires, and if he does retire, he gets all that money. It's guaranteed money. So no matter what happens, maybe Bill Belichick or the organization talks in Deshaun Watson saying, you know what, your career's over. Your knee isn't right. You're never going to be the same player now after the injury that you have, because that was a significant injury. Oh, yeah. Maybe he walks away and Bill Belichick says, you know what, you could still be a part of this organization. Maybe I'll make you the quarterback coach or whatever. And you bring in an Aaron Rodgers over there with the Browns, because the Browns are another organization, because ownership is stupid, that they would bring Bill Belichick in to be the GM/head coach. That is another organization. I mean, keep your eyes open with Cleveland, because Stefanski is probably on his way out, no matter what happens. Even beating Pittsburgh this past week in that snowstorm, I can't. And I like Kevin Stefanski, and he will be one of those big name coaches that if he becomes available, he is definitely going to be snagged up by somebody. Somebody
they said
is
he's not out, though. They said he's not out.
They say that.
They say that now, but Jimmy Haslam's not the brightest.
If Bill Belichick, if you decide, hey, you know what, Bill, are you interested in coming over here as our GM? Yeah, I'll come in as your GM if I get to be the head coach over there. You don't think they would fire Stefanski? Oh, 100%. Bill Belichick, he failed over there one time. I think I could see the organization saying, you know, well, let's give him another round. At least give him another 5 years as the GM. Let's rebuild. And by the way, this defense is built to win now. This is a good defense. This was the best defense in football last year. And this year, they're completely fallen off. They have one of the best defensive players in football. They have a really good duo at the corner position. I could see them succeeding if you put a Bill Belichick in that office. So, again, it's really just a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers going over there now, obviously, that's another place for, veteran quarterbacks to die in, even rookie quarterbacks to die in. But another organization that would absolutely make that turn to bring in Bill Belichick and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, it's the same thing with financial standpoint, though. Like, would it make sense for them? It's the same kind of thing with the Raiders. I mean, I guess they're going for flash over to try to save themselves. The problem is they're like the Saints. They're going to have to move a lot of contracts to make it work. Their offensive line is going to be decimated. Maybe Myles Garrett gets traded too. Who knows?
The only two teams that make a lot of sense, Java, the only two teams that would give Bill Belichick the full reins of their organization, because they're two dumb organizations, is the Jaguars and the Browns. Those are the only two.
On both sides. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, on both sides where he can have control in every aspect.
Yes, 100%. And without the owners getting involved with it. Because Cleveland their ownership would step away. And the same thing with the Jaguars. The Jaguars owner, who's a very rich man, as we all know what his son is doing. He bought, what was that? TNA, whatever the hell the wrestling organization is on TNT. They built that organization. The owner of the Jaguars built that organization and gave the ownership to that organization to his son. And his son's running that a multi-million-dollar organization that he built for his son. Okay.
AEW, thanks, Scoops.
Whatever it is, AEW. So, but I do believe Cleveland is an organization that would give the reins to Bill Belichick and let him do whatever his heart desires. And the same thing with the Jaguars. Two organizations that have pretty good talent on both sides of the ball, where if Bill Belichick gets into office and runs that organization, what's it going to take? 2 years to be a contender? I could see Bill Belichick being a contender in his first year.
Yeah, they have enough talent. A lot of people thought they could still be a playoff team this year.
100%. So, and Bill Belichick knows that division with Cleveland too. He's played them very,
100%.
very much. Yeah, especially being in the AFC East. That North division is wide open right now as we speak, with Baltimore and Pittsburgh. The Browns stink, but Cincinnati is back and forth. I don't know. Cincinnati's probably done now after what has happened over the last 2 weeks. But I mean, Bill Belichick knows the AFC. I wouldn't be surprised. And who wants Bill Belichick to stay in the AFC? I think you would rather him, either or. He would probably he would stay in the AFC either or, because the Jaguars are in the AFC too. But if I was Bill Belichick, I'd go into the Jaguars division, the South, because the South is just a horrible division. The Texans are our only decent team right now, and Indianapolis is going to be looking for a quarterback in the next 2 years because Richardson isn't the answer.
So the Titans are still looking for one.
Yeah, so I would think that would make more sense for him to go to the Jaguars than the Cleveland Browns, because he would have to face Tomlin twice a year, and you would have to obviously face the Harbaugh, Mr. John Harbaugh, and the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, which he's had problems beating over the years too. So I think it would make a lot of sense with the Jaguars, no question. If Bill Belichick is deciding to be a GM, which he is, for everybody to sit here and not believe that, Bill Belichick is only going to take a job if he has say on both sides of the fence. If he's the GM and he's helping the GM pick the players, or he's a part of the executive group over there at one of these organizations, and he's the coach of the team, because he still believes that he could still coach in the NFL and be consistent. So we'll see what happens. The Cowboys are in the tabloids again, huh? Not surprised. After the Cowboys win versus the Commanders in Week 12, Jerry Jones said extending Mike McCarthy would not be crazy. Jones praised how McCarthy has coached since Dak Prescott got hurt and said he is very worthy of an extension. He added that both McCarthy and the Cowboys players have had good body language, even in their losses. Stephen A. Smith said that Mike McCarthy should not trust this report, that his job is not secure. Jimmy Johnson said that he thinks McCarthy has done a great job as the Cowboys head coach. The Cowboys are 4-7 right now, but Jerry Jones still doesn't think their season is over. First of all, the season is over. It's over. There's no way they're coming back unless a catastrophic, amount of losses for Washington. Washington would have to lose at least 2 consecutive games and the Cowboys would have to win 2 games in a row with Cooper. Well, now maybe not with Cooper Rush. It would be Trey Lance for them to possibly sneak into the playoffs. And now the NFC is weak. The conference is weak. And if you look at the NFC, they're not out. The Cowboys are not completely out if you look at the way the standings are falling right now. But again, I don't trust right now, being the season is over for Dak Prescott and the quarterback play with Cooper Rush. And like I said, Cooper Rush might not even play on Thanksgiving. And if he doesn't, are you going to trust that Trey Lance is going to get you to the promised land? Trey Lance lost his job to a 7th-round draft pick in Brock Purdy. Does anybody believe that Trey Lance all of a sudden is going to figure it out and he's going to do it with the Cowboys? I can't see it. Now, right now, the Cowboys are 4-7. If the playoffs were to start right now, they would be a game and a half out. That's what it seems like, because the Cardinals would be in. The Rams are a borderline team. The Buccaneers right now are 5-6. They're a borderline team. The Packers are 8-3. There are three, and I said this already. The NFC North. There are 3 teams coming out of the NFC North: the Lions, the Vikings, and the Packers. All 3 teams are going to make the playoffs. And right now, the Bears are 4-7. So, I mean, the Cowboys would have to outduel the Bears, the Buccaneers, the Saints, who are 4-7, the Cardinals, and the Rams, and even the 49ers. I can't see it. There's no way the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs with Cooper Rush as their starting quarterback.
No.
So, but I think there's a lot of middle of the road, like, teams that can have the opportunity to make it, right?
Oh, no question. But it's not going to be the Cowboys. It's no way. If Dak Prescott came back, which he's out for the season, he's had surgery.
Yeah, done. Yeah.
He's done. I mean, he tore his hamstring. I think he tore off the bone.
Fracture, yeah.
Was it a fracture or was it a tear? I think he tore his hamstring. Or was it a fracture? It was a tear. That's what I thought. He tore his hamstring off the bone. Yeah. So if you tear your hamstring, he might not even start next year in the beginning of the season. That's a significant injury. I mean, the 2 injuries Dak Prescott's had over the last 4 years are significant injuries. Dak might not be the same quarterback when he comes back. Now, I'm not going to bet on Dak not coming back at 100% because a lot of people bet on it, and he was the co-MVP. Well, he was second in the MVP voting when he came back. I do believe right now there is no chance in hell Mike McCarthy keeps his job. I just think it's Jerry Jones coming out and trying to brush it under the rug. I think Jerry Jones is going to make a heavenly strong play at Bill Belichick in the offseason. I do believe it. Bill Belichick, I can't see Bill Belichick taking a job unless Jerry Jones steps down and lets Bill Belichick take over, or even has more say than any coach has ever had over Jerry Jones in bringing him in as the head coach / partial GM of the organization. I can't see Jerry Jones giving Bill Belichick any kind of reign on that sector.
Will their egos let them go either way?
No, I don't. I can't see Bill Belichick coming there. I think his ego is way too big to come to.
And that's the same thing as Jerry too, in the same aspect. So even if that is, I don't think they can work on the same aspect because they're both going to step on each other's toes.
Yes, and that's why a lot of people believe Deion Sanders makes a lot of sense. Why? Because right now, if
you don't think he's not going to do that,
I'm sorry. What do you?
You don't think he's not going to do that?
No, because Deion Sanders has a love fest for Jerry Jones. They love each other. They kiss each other's ass. I mean, I don't know if you see what Jerry Jones says about Deion Sanders as a player, and I don't know if you've heard Deion Sanders in the offseason when people have asked him questions about Jerry Jones, thinking that he's too old and that he needs to step away from football, and Deion Sanders coming out and saying that Jerry Jones has always respected me as a player, and I respect him as an owner, and I think he's been as good of an owner in the NFL than anybody as an owner has been over the last 20 years. So Deion Sanders has a love fest for Jerry Jones. Now, if Jerry Jones actually drafts Shedeur Sanders, which quite possibly could happen, okay, because Dak might not be ready for the beginning of the season. So they would have to go with Shedeur, and Dak could lose his job. And by the way, for everybody to look at Trevor Lawrence and say that there aren't teams that'll be interested in a $55 million player that's unworthy, Dak Prescott has proven to be worthy. He has made it to the playoffs. If you look at Dak Prescott's record in the last 3-4 seasons as a starting quarterback, it's pretty damn good. I mean, there's not many quarterbacks that have the numbers that Dak Prescott has had in the last 4 seasons. So there'll be teams interested in Dak Prescott if he becomes available, even for $60 million, because there are teams going to be looking for a quarterback, a.k.a. the New York Jets. So I mean, I wouldn't be crazy to see Dak Prescott go to the New York Jets, depending on who comes or who the Jets decide to bring in as their head coach. There are other teams that'll be interested in Dak.
Yeah, the Vikings. I think the Seahawks is another one. I think if Geno Smith's contract's like Daniel Jones, if they think that they can get an upgrade there, they have a lot of talent over there offensively to make that work. The Vikings, I don't know how the cap situation works for them, but if they lose Sam Darnold this offseason, they don't think McCarthy's ready yet. It's definitely a possibility as well. And that's where I think the Cowboys have to make it this tough decision to make it work. Now, Jabba, to your point, like, yes, Deion Sanders and Jerry Jones' egos are going to clash, but there is enough of it where Deion Sanders is not like Bill Belichick, where he's going to have that much football power the same way. Jerry Jones will still keep the football power that he wants there. Bill Belichick wants the football power. That's why he didn't take the job.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, you're still there. There's two different dynamics, right? They're both very alpha in the aspect of football wise, right? Bill Belichick's different. Deion is different. Deion played. Bill has just obviously been who he was and who he is. But do those egos can combine, or do they collide? Do they, like, which one do they do? And that's the thing. Like, to bring in somebody like that, it's great either way. But do you collide or you combine? That is literally what it is. And I don't know what the right answer is for that, because they're
Jerry Jones.
They're both great football minds, right?
I don't know about great.
I wouldn't say Jerry
minds.
Jones is that anymore.
I mean, Jerry Jones came
Well,
out.
no,
with
he's
some
out.
Interesting
Yeah.
stuff over the last couple of years, especially throwing the Cowboys under the bus on how they.
I mean,
draft
he's a geriatric now. It's fine. Like, we get it. Father Time wins all the time. So he's not in there. But if you're going to bring those two guys in, that's two great football minds. Are you going to collide? Or are you going to combine and make the best product that we can give? Is at the end of the day, is it not about making money? Is it about putting the best product and winning? That's it.
Well, we'll see what Jerry Jones decides to do in the offseason. Is he willing to step away to bring in Bill Belichick to run this organization and bring in the pieces to win a Super Bowl, which they haven't won since the 90s? I mean, it's been pretty long for the Cowboy fans, as everybody says, America's team. I will see what happens in the offseason. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new segment for all the fans, pound for pound. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
It's Tuesday, the day before Thanksgiving Eve. So happy Thanksgiving to all. And nothing screams Thanksgiving than NFL football. So kicking things off, the Giants quarterback catastrophe is actually continuing, because starter Tommy DeVito is actually dealing with a forearm injury suffered against the Buccaneers. And because coach Brian Dable actually stated that DeVito is not 100% for the Cowboys, and meaning that the team could turn to Drew Lock this Thursday on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys. And while focusing on injuries in the NFC East, the Commanders are pretty banged up at the running back spot after Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson suffered concussion and ankle injuries against the Cowboys. The team will be working out with veteran running backs Boston Scott and James Robinson, looking to add to their running back depth. And finishing it off with the college basketball, Houston has actually landed 5-star recruit center Christian Senak as he chooses the Cougars over the Kentucky, LSU, and Tennessee. Now, for scoops to scores over in the NBA, the Wizards and Bulls are currently in the third quarter, with the Bulls having a 68-55 lead. The Bucks currently have a 48-36 lead over the Heat in the second quarter, while the Rockets have a 22-11 lead in the first quarter. That is all the time I have for you guys right now, so I'm going to kick it back to the boys for their next segment on Jabba and the Mouth.
Any questions?
What is this? We're back. This is the Jabba and the Mouth Show.
You're a grown man. I'm not hungry. Dick 3-1, Dick 7-2-3108 is the number to call. I don't know where Jabba went. He's been eating. He's been going to the bathroom. I guess this is his Thanksgiving. Just packing it in, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Jabba and the Mouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Jabba Chamberlain, and Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including Jabba and the Mouth every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Before we get our guest in, which we will be talking to at 8:30, former Broncos, Ravens, and Jets defensive lineman Trevor Pryce. He's a good friend of the show. We are going to get into our very first game of the night, and it's the first time we're introducing it as we call this segment Pound for Pound.
This is Pound for Pound.
I'm coming for you. I was going to rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and Michigan, most ruthless champion there's ever been. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children.
I don't know about eating anybody's children, but hey, Mike Tyson likes to bite ears. He likes to eat children, I guess. So let's stay away from Iron Mike, especially after what happened. Right now, I'd like to hang out with Iron. He just made $20 million for doing nothing in a ring with Jake Paul. So, hey, Iron Mike, let's go out for drinks. You could do the drinking, and you could throw me the couple hundreds. And, we'll have a little bit of fun. Anyways, so pretty much, let's bring in Fish. Fish is going to explain because, he wanted to be involved with this. Fish, I want you to explain to the fans how we're going to play this.
All right, guys. So Jabba and Errol both have a top 3 pound-for-pound pitchers in baseball in the last 5 years. They're going to argue their picks, counting down from 3 to 1, and Speedy is going to be judging this as the referee and awarding either a pound that goes through, a punch that gets through, and a point to Errol or to Jabba, or it gets blocked, and the guy with the most points at the end of the game wins.
Well, the knockout, and trust me,
So Speedy's our Mills Lane.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
so.
Speedy Mills Lane.
I'll tell you, he definitely has more hair than Mills. But anyways, and by the way, Mills Lane is very, very sick. He doesn't look very, very good. I don't even know. If I'm not mistaken, he might have passed away, but he was doing very, very badly over the last couple of months. Iron Mike actually
still a legend.
Yeah, he is. But Mills is. I think he was dealing with cancer and all that other stuff. So shout out to Mills Lane. Hopefully everything is okay and he's doing better than the last time I saw him with Mike Tyson taking a picture. But so what we're going to do is we're going to do our top 3 pound-for-pound pitchers in the last 5 years. Jabba, you're going to go first. You have 3 minutes. Now, I can rebut. I can attack you on what you're saying. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm going to go, and I don't know if you're going to go in order. I'm going to do this, and
I'm going to go 3. So.
You're going to go 3, and I'm going to go Garrett Cole, number 3. Number 3, based upon
Get the music on. Let's go, Fish. Let's go. Come on. All right. Go ahead. Jabba, we don't hear you. What happened to you? You completely disappear off the face of the earth.
No, you can hear me.
Okay, go ahead.
We got you.
All right, you're going Garrett Cole. Why are you going Garrett Cole?
I'm going Garrett Cole on the fact of wins in the last 5 years. I'm going to go on innings. And then I'm going to go he's 3rd overall in ERA. And he's 2nd most in innings pitched. And he's gotten to the playoffs every single one of those years.
Now, obviously, you're looking at numbers, and numbers obviously don't give you all the answers. Now, I'm not saying that Garrett Cole is in a top 3 because he is in my top 3. As a matter of fact, he's my number 2. I wouldn't say he's my top 3. I would go Zach Wheeler as my number 3. And one of the main reasons why I would go
That's
with Zach
my
Wheeler,
2. That's my 2.
Really? So we flipped it. I'm going to tell you why I would go with Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler obviously hasn't done it as long as Garrett Cole has done. Now, obviously, Zach Wheeler has done a sensational job with the Philadelphia Phillies after getting traded by the New York Mets. I mean, his ERA shows it. He's in the National League East. The National League East, even though I still think it's weaker than the American League East, I think that's why I'm going to put Garrett Cole as my number 2, not my number 3, is because he is in the American League East. It's a harder division. It's been a harder division really forever. Now,
And it
over
is,
the last-
but he has the least amount of innings pitched in the top 3 of wins.
I understand that. I understand that. And again, going back, I look at the division and I look at the
No, let's
consistency.
look at production. You can't look at divisions because that you still have to throw 60 feet 6 inches. You still have to do it.
How many Cy Youngs has Zach Wheeler have won?
Zero.
Zero. Okay, and how many has Garrett Cole won?
2.
Okay, and so that's why I put Zach Wheeler.
What does that
at
matter?
number 3. It does matter. He was the best pitcher in his division, in his conference.
In his division, but he wasn't. He got that right. Like, we can't even argue Skubal and Chris Sale this year because
it's top 5 in the last 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, you have Garrett Cole as your number 3, and Zach Wilson as your number 2. I mean, Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler. That's what I meant. Zach Wheeler as your number 2. I again, going back to it, I look at Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole is a 2-time Cy Young winner. And how many Cy Youngs has Garrett Cole won in the last 5 years?
But at the same time, has he won anything? No, neither of them.
Zach Wheeler hasn't won anything either.
Neither is Garrett Cole, other than a Cy Young. What else has he done?
Zach Wheeler. Well, hold on 1 second. Did Zach Wheeler pitch in a World Series?
They have the same amount of wins. Who has a better ERA? Zach Wheeler.
But he also plays in a division.
Oh, you're gonna say the East is terrible with the Braves and everything?
The American League East, in the last 5 years, the American League East has been better than the National League East. It has been.
All right, final statements, guys. Final statements on your order now of these 2 guys, 3 and 2, 2 and 3.
In the last 5 years. So,
Speedy, you should be speaking and stepping in on this, but I know you're in a little la-la land. I don't know where the hell you are. You're on cloud 9 or something.
So who wins this one, Speedy?
I'm gonna give it.
Go ahead, Speedy.
I'm gonna give it to Errol because I do think the arguments with the innings pitched. I know, Jabba, I understand you're coming from that standpoint of you want to pitch longer innings as well. And I don't really know if the wins are going to be as judgmental for, especially the starting pitching stat. I know, Jabba, you might disagree as a pitcher, but I think Errol's argument with the innings pitch and the strikeouts made it work for Garrett Cole for a longer factor.
And also the Cy Youngs.
And at the same time, he only has 16 more strikeouts. Really? 16 more?
For the consistency of the years, though.
And I'm just looking at consistency of the years. Now, as far as
better ERA, same amount of wins, and he only has 16 more innings pitched.
But he's also playing in the National League East to the American League East, which in the last 5 years, I would say the American League East has more dominance than the National League East. I'm just saying in the last 5 years. In the last 2 years.
You're saying
2 years.
pound for pound, the AL East has more value.
Yes, more value. It's been forever. It's been the best division in all of baseball. In the last 5 years,
doesn't matter. You still
3
have
out
to
of the 5
pitch,
has
dog.
been a better division.
You still have to pitch.
I understand that.
You still have to
All right.
get outs.
Garrett Cole has won a Cy Young. Zach Wheeler never won a Cy Young.
No, he
Never.
hasn't. But his numbers are just the same. Somebody just had a better year.
He's also playing in a division.
Hey,
that
you want to talk about Nolan Ryan? Nolan Ryan has 7 no-hitters. Did he ever win a Cy Young?
We could go back and forth. All
Did
right,
he ever win a Cy Young? Did he ever win a Cy Young?
Who, Nolan Ryan?
Yeah.
No.
No, he did it. And he's not considered the greatest to ever do it. So you can't
This is
say
now. It's a
years.
different game. It's a different game, as we always argue about it on the show. Rob Manfred's ruined the game as we came out. So it's different. By the way, I would say you're probably right about that argument. No, I'm not going to lie.
100% I'm right.
Listen, I'm not arguing with
So you can't use the Cy Young in the argument. That's my point.
I am because I am looking.
All right,
at
so Speedy has decided to award the first 2 points to Errol, but for the number 1 spot, this is worth 3 points.
I think we both believe the number 1 guy is Justin Verlander.
Framber Valdez.
Who?
Framber Valdez.
Oh, I can't wait.
Wow. All right, let's go.
Let's hear it.
Who has the most wins in the last 5 years?
Valdez.
Yep. Who has one of the best ERAs in the last 5 years?
Valdez.
How many innings has he pitched? Has he gotten to the postseason? He's pitched over 780 innings. Not only in regular season and postseason. Give me an argument. Give me something.
All right.
Verlander's been hurt.
Hold on. In 2019 and 2022, he had the American League wins. He was the American League wins leader. Okay. In 2022, he had the best ERA in the American League. He won a Cy Young in the last 5 years. Okay. He won a championship, which, by the way, Valdez hasn't.
What does that matter?
It matters a lot. It matters
Let's
a lot.
look at numbers over the last 5 years.
I'm just saying, he won a championship. You say he never won. He's won. He's won a championship in the last 5 years.
I don't disagree with you.
He's won 2 Cy Youngs in the last 5 years. Not one, but 2 Cy Youngs.
At the same time, he doesn't have the most wins. We're talking about the best in the last 5 years, correct? That's what we're talking about.
Valdez is a better pitcher than Justin Verlander in the last 5 years. Come on,
Yes,
Jabba.
100%.
You're out of your mind. What are you drinking tonight?
Who has more wins?
What are you drinking in that? How much tequila are you drinking tonight?
Who has more wins?
That's nothing to do with it. I'm talking about all-around talent and what he's done. He's won a championship. He's a 2-time Cy Young winner. I mean, come on. He's won comeback player of the year after coming back from the injury that he came back. He was the American League wins leader. He's like 40 years old. He's a 2019 American League wins leader. 2022 American League wins leader. I mean,
you want to keep going on that, but you said the last 5 years. You're only talking about a couple of
2019
years.
isn't 5 years?
It'd be 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. 19 doesn't count.
All right. So take
19
that
doesn't
away.
count.
All right, but guess what?
Get
He's
your
won a
facts
Cy Young.
right.
All right, time's up.
He won a championship in
Time's
the last
up.
5
Doesn't
years.
matter who has the most wins.
Time's up. Java, you win this round for 2 reasons. One of which they both won a championship. The other one is Justin Verlander's Mets is not very good.
So I won.
No, I did.
I won.
So the scoring system, which we are making up currently on the spot, would theoretically we can say that Java has more correct questions, but Errol got the most. Errol got the more correct questions. Java got the most important question, which is number 1. I would say, using the only scoring system I know, that of Nickelodeon Guts from when I was a kid, first place gets more than.
Go ahead, kiss his ass.
So,
I
I
figure.
think Java's
I
going to win
figure that's
this
what you
one.
were going to do. Yeah, get out of here. First of all, Justin Verlander is a better pitcher than Valdez has been in the last 5 years.
I'm not saying
He
he's
won
not
a
a better
champ. Okay,
pitcher.
Valdez won a championship. He didn't win a Cy Young, did he? Did he win a Cy Young? Did Valdez win a Cy Young in 5 years?
No,
Did he
we
win
were
a Cy Young in
talking
5
about
years?
numbers.
Not the musical, please. Please. He
We're
didn't win
talking
it.
about numbers.
All right. Again, numbers.
Who
don't-
has the most wins in the last 5 years?
Wins don't matter, as we've come out and said that. Wins don't matter when it comes to pitching, does it?
I'm pretty sure they do matter if he's
Not
pitching
really.
in the game and he wins.
Not really. And Justin Verlander?
At MIT, it doesn't matter.
We're not in
those
MIT.
Guys say certainly not. Those guys though say that it's more luck than anything. But I agree with you, Jabba. If you're on the mound and you're getting your team wins when you're on the mound, the team trusts in you and all that, it doesn't matter as far as the stats. But does that prove that he's a better pitcher? I don't know. Than somebody else.
He's not a better pitcher than Justin Verlander. I'm not saying that, but Errol an argument
In the last 5 years.
5 years.
In the last 5 years, I'm going Justin Verlander.
He doesn't even come. He's not even in the top 10 of wins in the last 5 years. Not even in the top 10.
All right. Okay. You take this year. He's still in 2022 won a Cy Young. Did he not? Did he not?
I'm not disagreeing. Like Justin
He
Verlander,
led
a friend of mine.
His American League ERA in 2022, he had the best American League ERA. And he led the, well, hold on one second. I think he was in top 4 in strikeouts in 2022, 2021, 2020. I mean, he was in top 5. I mean, the guy to me, statistics, if you want to look at pure stats, even because you're looking at his wins, and again, going back to wins don't give you the best picture of what the pitcher is. It's all around in his game. And again, Justin Verlander, when the Astros won, was he not the reason, one of the main reasons why they won that World Series?
Who has a better ERA, Framber or him in the last 5 years?
I'm sorry? You would know more than that. You're a pitcher, so I don't know.
Yeah, Framber does.
And I didn't expect to win this one, but how could you give him? I got the 2 points. How do you give him more if he got the number one question? That doesn't make any sense. How does that point system work?
It was just arguing the order. You guys did have the same
number
people.
one. Hold on. So let's get this straight.
So who are your three? You had Verlander, Wheeler, and Cole, right?
I have My number one is Justin Verlander. My number two is Garrett Cole. My number three is Zach Wheeler.
And I was Garrett Cole number 3, Zach Wheeler 2, and Framber number 1. Because we're talking the last 5 years. We're not talking overall.
Yeah, I got it. Last 5 years.
And I even wanted to put Shohei in there too, because if you really truly look at his numbers, they're close. But he didn't have a true 5 years, so I couldn't put that in there. But if you go 5 years, and we're not talking accolades, we're not talking anything. We're talking pitching. We're talking amount of innings. Who has the best ERA in the last 5 years? Zach Wheeler at 2.94.
Okay.
Garrett Cole's at 3.12, and so is Framber.
We also look at the divisions they play in, the league that they play in.
See, that's why you're a douche in the aspect, because I'm
a douche because I'm arguing what conference
we stand 60 feet 6.
Hey, Addy, Johnny,
you still got to do it.
Listen, I'm not. Listen. I hope you shave your ass, because you have Speedy and good old Fish ready to kiss it. Not me. I mean, you could spread the cheeks. Maybe Speedy will go in.
Oh, I can't wait for pound every week so I can just destroy you.
Oh, you will definitely. Listen, I gave you this one, but after baseball, you don't stand a chance, buddy. Good luck. I can't wait. I can't wait. Good luck. Get ready. And by the way, if you get the number one question, you don't win. That doesn't make any sense. So guess what? I'll get number 3 and number 2 wrong just to get number 1 right, and I win. That doesn't make any sense. You go with points, and the point system is if I got number 1, I got number 3 and number 2 right, I win. So that's the way it goes.
I was talking to Manfred, and Manfred had these new ideas, and we just went with them.
Yeah, that's because you're kissing Jabba's ass. That's the Manfred. That's the Manfred deal. Is kiss Jabba's ass, just like everybody kisses Manfred's ass. Anyways, when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, he's waiting, as he's not doing any ass kissing. That's for damn sure. We all know he's not the ass kisser. He's a guy likes beating heads in, as we all know what he was as a defensive player. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking to former Broncos, Ravens, and Jets defensive lineman, our friend Trevor Pryce. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
Speedy, what are you doing?
Yes, sir. I am back with another Sports Minute. And ladies and gentlemen, the Patriots in the NFL, I can tell you that right now, the Patriots are going to be claiming offensive guard Lester Cotton off of waivers from divisional rival Dolphins and requiring the Patriots to release guard Michael Jordan. You heard that right. That is his name, but not that Jordan. But New England will look to help O-line with Cotton on the line. And in the NBA, the Bucks point guard Damian Lillard is off to a hot start in the NBA Cup versus the Heat, as at halftime right now, Damian Lillard has 25.7 assists, with 17 of the points coming in the first quarter. And speaking of the NBA, we're transitioning now into Scoops to Scores. The Bulls have a 91-77 lead over the Wizards right now, with 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. And at halftime, as mentioned, the Bucks have a 65-51 lead over the Heat, while the Timberwolves have a 2.35-33 lead over the Rockets with 8 minutes remaining in the second quarter. And that is all the time I have for you, ladies and gentlemen. So kicking it back to the boys on Jabba and the Mouth.
Any questions?
We're back. This is the Jabba and the Mouth Show.
I know you like this, Trevor.
a little DMX party up.
Up in here, up in here. Y'all won't make me.
You know, they used to play that. So what was really bonkers is they would play that when I was with Denver, and the whole beginning of the first verse of the song is like a lot of curse words and never been to jail before, suck my, you know what I mean? And they would bleep out just that part, and I'm just like, yeah, do y'all not understand what this dude is saying? You know what I mean? But they didn't know any better. It's Denver.
631-672-3108. We got the second half of what Trevor was saying. You're listening to Jabba in the Mouth. I'm your host, my co-host, Jabba Chamberlain and Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows, including Jabba in the Mouth every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows, go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. And before we introduce our very special guest, Trevor Pryce, this obviously this segment is brought to you by the great Ice Shaker. Ladies and gentlemen, founded by NFL fullback Chris Gronkowski, Ice Shaker was developed with one goal in mind: to help people live an active and healthy lifestyle by providing them with an ultimate drinking vessel for nutrition and hydrating needs. Ladies and gentlemen, if you go to Ice Shaker, yes, if you go to iceshaker.com, Ice Shaker will give you 25% off for Black Friday. Go on to the website, go to the coupon code, and put in Black Ice. Ladies and gentlemen, BLACKICE. That spells Black Ice. Oh, at least I could spell, Trevor.
Somewhat.
Hey, I'm trying. It's flowing, man. I mean, I'm not DMX, but I can flow.
Okay. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had him on the show before. The last time he was on a show, he was outside hanging out before it got dark. And now he's sitting down in his beautiful home. We're now talking to former Broncos, Ravens, and Jets defensive lineman Trevor Pryce. Trevor, what's up, buddy?
What's up, my man? How are you, sir? I'm not at home. I'm in my office at my studio.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a beautiful office, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is nice.
Yeah,
it was, it was supposed to be a conference room, and I was like, make it my office. So it's my office.
Well, listen, that's what happens when you make millions and millions of dollars.
No. That's what happens when you're the boss.
I'm just kidding. But nevertheless, you did very, very well for yourself. You had a long-lasting career. Trevor, we haven't spoken to you in a while. What have you been doing over the last year?
I finished my third season of my show. It came out on Netflix. On Hulu this past June, and I'm in the middle of shooting a movie that will come out next Labor Day.
Oh yeah, so what's the movie called?
Kalapari, an Army of Frogs. I mean, we're rebooting my TV show as a live action film. My studio is actually downstairs from here, where I'm sitting. And all the guys are down, all the artists are down there. I mean, not there now. It's 9:00 at night, but we're rebooting the Netflix show into a feature film.
Wow, that's awesome. And to me, I didn't even know that you had a show on Hulu, so I have to check it out. What's the show called again?
An Army of Frogs. It's a cartoon. It's a action adventure cartoon. There's 2 seasons of it on Netflix, and there's 3 seasons of it on Hulu, and then we're making the movie now.
Well, it seems like a lot of ex-NFL players are working with cartoons. I mean, who was the last guy who did a movie recently for Pixar?
Jeremy Mincy.
Jeremy Mincy was doing a Pixar movie. Yeah, look at the face over there.
What was he doing for it?
Well, he actually did he not direct it? I think
he directed it. He did he was doing a lot of the negotiations with the animation work as well with that. And he's also been filming on a YouTube channel as well. He's doing a segment of coaching as well, both with women's basketball, his girls, and flag football as well.
Well, he's doing a vlog, and he's actually actively creating his own reality TV show. And Jeremy Mincy's a friend of the show, just like you, Trevor, and that's great.
Yeah.
Obviously, walking away from the NFL and doing the things that you're doing in the entertainment field, that obviously helps you move forward in your career. So obviously, going in to this season, there were a lot of questions with the New York Jets, and could this team actually make the playoffs? They haven't been in the playoffs in over 13 years. This team has been absolutely horrendous. They bring in Aaron Rodgers over the last 2 years. The guy gets hurt in 4 plays on, Sunday Night Football. Goes down against the Buffalo Bills, then comes back this year, and he was talking on the Pat McAfee show and saying that this team could make it, be a contender if everything falls right. Well, guess what? This team has done nothing but fallen on their faces. What were your thoughts this season with Aaron Rodgers coming out and saying what he said on Pat McAfee show before the season, and where the Jets are now, saying that he could be on his way out and going to play for another team in the offseason?
I think the thing you have to realize is, and I think sometimes players get caught up thinking like fans and not players, and that's a mistake, because to think that with the culture of the Jets, we're going to add one player out of 22, and that's going to be that's how we get to the Super Bowl. That is wishful thinking, right? It doesn't work like that. You have to. There's more problems than just a quarterback and a bad team, right? Like most NFL quarterbacks, if there's no offensive line and they're just playing 7-on-7, will eat a defense apart. I've seen guys come off the street and do it to the first team Ravens defense, just playing backyard football, right? But at the same time, when I was at the Ravens, we added Steve McNair. We wound up 13-3. The year before, we were 3-13. So that I get it, right? But I think in today's NFL, where the talent margins are this, from the Jets to the Chiefs, it is literally a couple inches. You know what I mean? There are several guys in the Jets that would start for the Chiefs, and there's a bunch of Chiefs that would start for the Jets. You know what I mean? You can't think to yourself, oh, we just add a quarterback, everything's gonna be hunky dory. No, you need a culture change, you need a coaching change, you need a offensive line change, and you better this and you better that. Like they were doomed from the start, I believe. That's just my thinking.
So Trevor, what do you think too? Like as somebody that's obviously won a Super Bowl, do you think it's a culture change or do you think it's a talent change?
I think it's a culture change. Coaching at that level really does matter more than people think it does, right? I know all the players are kind of the same. Everybody's the same size, strength, speed, but it's also confidence, right? Because NFL football is hard. It's very hard on the body. It's even harder on the mind, right? I think if you go into a game knowing you're going to win, you'll win. If you go into a game hoping to win, you're not going to win. And I think the Jets, from a culture standpoint, go into games hoping to win rather than we know we're going to win. You know what I mean?
Where do you think that starts from, though?
I think it starts from your record. I think you are who you are. It starts from your record. You know what I mean? It starts with if people want to blame Woody Johnson, and I know Woody, right? And Woody's a great guy, and he's a cool old dude that would hang out in the practices and talk to us and that kind of thing. So it's really not him. That's not what it is. It's kind of like, people say you have to have a job to find a job. You have to win football games to win football games. You have to have won football games, right? You get, in the NFL, man, like it is a pick on me league, right? So in the NFL, they'll kick you while you're down. So people like kicking the Jets. Like teams like playing the Jets because it's like, oh, this is a free one. We get healthy today. Or when you play San Francisco and they have the backup quarterback in, oh, we're gonna get healthy today. That's a thing people say in the locker room. Oh, we get healthy today. And you're playing the Jets, we get healthy today. You know what I mean? So their problems go a lot deeper than
it was the coaching, Trevor. I said that in the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
before the season even started.
The coaching was bad. The coaching was bad too. And I hate saying that because that guy worked hard, and the coaches work hard, man. I cannot stress enough how hard NFL football is, how difficult it is, and just the talent margins are thin, and the coaching is thin, and everybody's running the same plays, but is 1 or 2 plays decide a game in the NFL, right? And 1 or 2 plays will basically tell you whether or not you're getting blown out or you win. It's 2-3 plays. That's it. It's 3 plays, 21 points. That's what it is, man. So I'm kind of simpatico to what the Jets are going through because I went through it several times in the Broncos and the Ravens. But the Jets team I played on was fucking great. Sorry.
No, it's all right. They were. But you also had a pretty decent coach over there. I mean, they weren't. He wasn't that bad. I mean, Robert Saleh is a rookie coach that got a chance because he was the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, and anybody could be the defensive coordinator for that 49ers defense. Anybody, you could.
Yeah, I really could have. But I would tell you what went wrong with the Jets when they picked Zach Wilson, and I'm gonna tell you why that's a bad pick. He is built like a teen girl, right? He's not an NFL. The NFL is a size and speed league. It is a genetic league, and you cannot draft a quarterback that has slight shoulders. I don't care how much he weighs. Like the fear in a Zach Wilson, as I beat a guard and I'm running at you full speed, I would see the fear in guys like that eyes. It's a genetic. If you don't have the right genetics, it is really hard to succeed in this league. The kid from Carolina, wrong genetics. That's really tough. He's not going to make it. The game is too big, too fast, too violent, right?
And you can't teach that.
And you cannot teach big, fast, and violent, right? You can draft a kid that says, oh, he's 205. Rex Ryan said something that was really, really profound, and I was like, you should be still coaching or running a team. He said Bryce Young is small. Kyler Murray's short. There's a difference. There's a difference between Kyler Murray's short, right? Bryce Young is small. Zach was small. It was a slight guy. And you have, 290-pound, 4'6" running defensive lineman running at his head. And like that is an anxiety and stress I don't want. And I'm 290 pounds. You know what I mean? So that's that, and there's no coming back from them. Once you make a mistake like that, they'll be in the thick of this for the next 5 years.
So I want to ask about Rex Ryan because he's been in the rumors again. He's going to throw his hat in to get the Jets head coaching job again. We heard he almost got the Broncos defensive coordinator job a few years ago. So
that I don't understand. I don't understand how they didn't hire him. I'm like,
yeah,
what the hell are y'all doing?
Yeah, so I would ask, like, the chances of getting a head coaching job, and maybe it's going to be the Jets.
Do you think him coming back after how long from coaching, he would be a good pick for the New York Jets?
I do. I truly do. I think because I think what the Jets need is to simplify what they do. And Rex is a very simple football coach. Rex is, we run the ball, we play defense. That's it. The rest of that nonsense, you can, all that other stuff doesn't matter none. This is how you win football games. And he's proven that, right? The game is until they put 13 players on the field, the game's the same. It's the same as it was in the 1970s. You run the ball, play defense. And that formula always works, right? There has to be a toughness to it. You have to have a big back. They have a great running back. Need some better offensive linemen and better scheme and better coaching. And really what it is, I'm telling you, man, confidence. Rex knows how to build confidence in players. He makes you think you can run through a wall. He makes you believe that you are as good. We had a DB in Baltimore. I never forget it. His name was Washington. I forget his first name. Skinny kid from Nebraska.
Oh, Java.
Fabian Washington.
Fabian, right? And we were playing.
You just made his day, by the way. You just made
Fabian. That's my guy.
He's from Nebraska and he lives in Nebraska.
I do know he's from Nebraska. I was like, how many black people are in Nebraska? What are you doing in Nebraska? And so Fabian, we were playing somebody that had like a really fast wide receiver. I forget who it was. The receiver doesn't matter, but he was one of the fastest guys in the league. But Fabian's 40 time was faster than his. So Rex all week was like, make sure you slow down so you don't run past the guy, right? The guy's like an all pro. It was like It was like Andre Johnson or somebody like that. It was somebody that was on that was like like an all pro guy. And Rex was like, well, Fabian runs a 4.2, so wait, make sure you gear down when you're covering him. Like that's the type of thing he would do, right? He would keep it, he would make sure that you knew he believed in you. And I'm telling you, even at the NFL level, that matters so much. It mattered to me. You know what I mean? It was, and he is the best man for that job, no question.
Wow! Did you
No
hear
question.
that? He is.
No
By
question.
the way, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to former Broncos, Ravens, and Jets defensive lineman Trevor Pryce. This is a guy that's been successful for many, many years in the NFL and actually won a Super Bowl. Actually won how many Super Bowls? 2. So not 4, but 2. This guy has been successful in the NFL, and he actually was coached by Sexy Rexy, who actually lost some weight, Trevor. So, I mean, this guy can actually go move back and forth on the sidelines. He doesn't have that jug of a stomach rumbling on the sidelines. So
we beat Denver when I was with the Jets. We beat Denver, and I jumped on Rex's back, and he held me up. There's a picture of me I jumped on his back, like literally like piggyback ride on his back, and he held me up, and I was like, Rex is strong as all hell.
was that with Tim Tebow on the Broncos?
No, Tim Tebow was out of the league, I think.
Was he? Maybe actually, maybe I don't know. I don't even know.
Or was it Kyle Orton? He might have been.
Maybe it was Kyle Orton.
It was Kyle Orton. That's exactly what it was.
But Tim Tebow was still in the league. He was definitely in the league.
He probably was still on the bench at that time.
Because
he wasn't playing for the Jets, though. He wasn't playing for the Jets.
No. Because Tim Tebow actually played for the Jets at the tail end of his career because he was a tight end.
Yeah.
And he played for Rex Ryan, actually. So,
yeah, he did. I remember that. That was a bad idea. Rex got that one wrong. I was like, Rex, what are you doing?
Hold on one second. That wasn't Rex. That was Mike Tannenbaum, who's actually right now doing all the interviews for the New York Jets. Wonderful.
They got that one wrong. I was like, what? Homeboy can't throw a fight, much less throw a football. It's like, this is unbelievable.
There's another team right now. You were just speaking about the Broncos, and the Broncos have really taken 2 steps forward this year. I mean, who would have thought that this team completely fallen off with Russell Wilson? They ship him out. They get rid of that contract. They're actually still paying Russell Wilson right now. He's getting paid $1.5 million over there to Pittsburgh. They practically are paying his full contract just to ship him out. They draft Bo Nix, and this team right now is on their way into the playoffs. Their defense. Yeah, it's really amazing. Sean Payton's having one of his best coaching years with a young quarterback that started to develop right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, I think the whole thing with some of the quarterback gurus, when I say, look, the man had 60 some odd starts in college. Like he's an NFL player just from experience alone. Like you compare him with Anthony Richardson, and you see 2 very different physical skill sets. Anthony Richardson is way more skilled, bigger, stronger, faster, bigger arm. But Bo Nix, with his experience and seeing defenses and learning offenses, and kind of just like, when a quarterback or even defensive lineman switches teams, we pick up the stuff. If you're old enough, you pick it up real quick. I remember Baker Mayfield went to the Rams 2 days, and he's out there playing. Like you pick that stuff up. Like the concepts are the same. The verbiage might be a little different, but you can kind of A/B the verbiage. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So Trevor, what do you think separates that? Is it pedigree? Is it just understanding the game, or like
it's time?
What is it?
It's time. It's time. It's time listening to coaches, right? And he had the same. Another thing too, it's familiarity, right? So the longer, and I know Bo Nix went to 2 schools, but he was stable at the 2 schools he went to, right? And so the offensive coordinator wasn't changing every year, and he learned the concepts. And when a quarterback learns concepts, or a defensive lineman learns concepts, you learn a half field at a time. You learn the right side of the field, left side of the field. And they give you reads on one side, but hey, we're not going to do it about the other side, but the play is over here, right? And he played that great game. So it is pedigree, but it's also time spent learning the game. It is complicated. It is complicated in its simplicity. You know what I mean? That's kind of what NFL football is, at least.
So I want to ask about the Ravens now with Lamar Jackson. Last time we had you on the show, I think we were joking about the Lamar Jackson contract situation. And since then, he's won an MVP. He could win another one this year. But him and Marlon Humphrey were taking shots at John Harbaugh at the beginning of the year. There was a little bit of drama with the way they were finishing games. Like, what are your thoughts to that and the way they've like overcome that this season?
The thing about Lamar Jackson is at any given time, he's the fastest man on the field. And I don't think it's close. And that is a weapon that I truly don't know how they've lost any games at all. Like things have to go terribly bad for them to lose. You know what I mean? The two Cincinnati games they should have lost. Right, we all know that. But when you're that kind of explosive. And that's why when you watch the Ravens play, when he throws the ball, receivers are wide open. There is nobody around them for 5-10 yards. And I'm like, where is the safety? The safety is spying Lamar Jackson. So that's where the safety is, right? So it is one of those things, man. Like you can't, there's no way to defend that. You have to do your best and say, okay, keep him in the pocket to try to sack him. But if he gets outside the pocket, the threat of him running is a real threat. It's not Josh Allen can run. Josh Allen can't run like Lamar Jackson.
But no. Well, because
Josh Allen, you can't teach that. You can't teach it. You can't teach it.
It is, and so look, like wide open. The people just what? Because he's such a threat. And you don't know where he's gonna throw the ball. You don't know, like it is. I couldn't imagine playing against them. I really cannot. And I'm glad I haven't had to.
I'm glad I picked baseball. Thank God.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
But you know what's crazy watching this season, and I think that this Kansas City Chiefs team is probably one of the worst 9-1 teams I've seen in a very long time. I mean, I'm not saying they don't have talent. They have a tremendous amount of talent, but Patrick Mahomes is not having a great season. I mean, they don't have a number one wide receiver. Their tight end looks old. I think he's hanging out too much with Taylor Swift. I mean, the defense, even though it's a great defense, they're not as good as they were last year. And they're 9-1. I mean, they're 9-1. It makes no sense. Maybe it's just because of big Andy Reid, who I think is by far the best coach right now in the NFL, the best offensive mind I've ever seen.
By far.
Why do you think? Why do you think?
But let me interject before you answer this, Trevor.
Yeah.
Do you think having a winning culture in the aspect of they know how to win games, do you think that plays a part?
1,000,000,000%. I was going to say that. It is, we expect to win. It is that simple. It's like we have Patrick Mahomes, so therefore we have a chance, and we always have. We're spotted 4 points as we walk on the field. You know, that's the way they think. That's the way, and there's a confidence in that. We have 2 Super Bowls. We have Patrick Mahomes. We have this. We have Chris Jones. And they have a bunch of guys. Their 3 interior linemen are like the Great Wall of China. Like those 3 guys. And they make the engine go, those 3 middle guys. But they have guys that can't play dead. You know, one of the linebackers is no good. The safety is okay. You know what I mean? So they have problems like every other NFL team. They can get better and upgrade some things. But it is the culture of winning at all times is prevalent in everything they do. Unlike the Jets, right?
Thank you, Trevor. Thank you. You had to bring the Jets. You had to bring the.
They don't have a culture. They don't have a.
Thank you, Trevor.
It's a culture of it is, man. Like we expect to win. Like yeah, and like they blocked the Denver kick. Like who blocks a? Like are you for real? Like they made a deal with the devil. Denver should have won that game. Denver either should have won that game. A field goal kick? Like you block it? Are you serious? You know what I mean? So. You can watch a whole red zone all day and not see a block kick. But
Yeah,
as
we get
soon
to
as
watch
Kansas
Taylor
City,
Swift.
as soon as Kansas City needs a block kick, guess what happens? So that's
Yeah.
culture, man. That's culture, and that is energy, and that is coaching and belief. It's just belief. Remember, the talent pool between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs is very narrow. I'm telling you, it is razor thin. What separates them? Belief and culture. I've seen it with my own eyes.
All right, one more question for me. I know we've discussed a lot about the Hall of Fame, the borderline. We think you should be a Hall of Famer.
100%.
And there were actually some interesting comments over the summer about somebody you played against, and that was Willie Anderson, who said the blind side. Yeah, he said the blind side has kept right tackles out of the Hall of Fame, but it put more left tackles in. So, what are your thoughts of those comments? And do you think like they're very picky with positions specific things?
I think the game has changed. Like back in the day, it was like, because the quarterbacks were statues. So you stand there with your back turned to a defensive end, he's going to hit you in the back, right? So you had to have a great left tackle. I do think now that the game has changed, the quarterbacks are mobile and getting out there, read option, get on the edge and all that kind of stuff. Now tackle's a tackle, right? And you see them switching sides and things like that. Like, I was left tackle and I'm right tackle. It used to be like, I remember my rookie year, Tony Jones, God bless him, he passed away. He was they signed him to be the left tackle. And what happened was Garrett Zimmerman came back and said, moved him to right tackle. And he was so angry, right? Won the Super Bowl, but he was like, I signed him to be the left tackle, right? It was a big deal to him. But Tony T-Bone was my guy.
Do you think they're sexifying these things to get dudes to the Hall of Fame because it becomes sexier in these certain aspects of positions that they're playing?
A little bit, it is kind of tell a story. You know what I mean? That's what's the story of this thing that we're doing right now, and how is it affecting the game from a schematic standpoint, right? And you watch Trent Williams play. Like, you watch Trent Williams play. Trent gives very little effort at times. Like, he's so big. The play is going away. He'll just kind of wall you off. Something like Trent's not trying to, as good as he is, he's 37 years old or whatever he is. Trent's not trying to pancake people and do all that. He's like, I do my job. I do it very well. And then I move on from that part. Like, that was a little different, right? But for the most part,
freight train. Holy crap!
Yeah, freight train. Yeah, but for the most part, that's not what he is. You know what I mean? You watch, like, really watch him play. Trent is kind of sometimes out there just like, hey, look, I'm not trying to do all this right now. You know what I mean? But then you can't get around him because his feet are so good. You know what I mean? So a lot of it is what the media thinks about you rather than what's the reality. Like, I remember watching Aaron Donald play all them times. Anytime there was a long run on the Rams, they ran at Aaron Donald every time, because he just pick a gap and just go. He would just do whatever he wants. And if you see a running back bust through the line, it was because of Aaron Donald. And he would sometimes get through the line and just stand there. Like, I've seen it in my own eyes. I'm just like, okay.
And I think that's kind of the same thing that happened when Ndamukong Suh went and he was with Darnold. And now he was getting attacked in a different way that he's never been attacked before, because he was bull rushing, doing everything else. And I think that just plays a part in it.
Yeah, it does. But it also is, we let Aaron Donald do whatever he wants, because at some point he's going to make a play that changes the game. And he did that 1,000 billion times.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you live and die with it. You just live and die by the sword. And the thing is, when you watch someone like Aaron Donald, you're watching somebody who gets away with it because they don't mess with him on Monday in the film, right? Like he wasn't coached. I remember the article in Sports Illustrated about him being drafted to St. Louis, and the defensive line coach was a guy named Mike Waffle. And I know Mike. Mike coached me in the Pro Bowl. Mike is a military man. buzz cut. He's 6'6", takes no shit from nobody. And apparently he realized Aaron Donald was special, and he went, "Listen, when I'm coaching, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to everybody else. You do what you do. You just line up. When they say hike, you just go." And he said he had his own. So Aaron Donald had his own set of rules, and that never changed. Now look, when 3-time defensive player of the year, like he should have won it about 5 or 6 times. To be honest with you,
I mean, he was the closest thing to any big time Reggie White or anybody you want to compare his talents to. I mean, by the way, remember when he came into the league? When obviously coming from Pitt, he was overweight. People thought that he was overweight, out of condition. And then look at how he built his body. I mean, the guy was built like a tank. When he went to St. Louis, I mean, he lost, I think, 30 pounds, turned it into muscle. I mean, has anybody seen what Aaron Donald's body looks like, especially after the fact when he was drafted? I mean, the guy has an unbelievable physique.
I don't want to meet him in the dark alley. I'll promise you that.
No,
you
don't.
don't.
Meet him on a football field either, because
you don't see that.
I'll take him on the baseball field, but I'm not taking him on the football field.
I think they said he squatted over like 950 pounds 25 times or some crazy number.
No, he did not do that.
I'm just saying, maybe it wasn't 950, but it was a
I was
lot.
like, hold on here. Hold on.
It was a significant amount, and he did it 25 times. He did it 25 times.
I can believe that. But he was
maybe it wasn't 950, maybe it was 700, but he did it like 25 times. He did it 25 times.
Yeah.
He was like the James Harrison of the line. That's what he did.
But then again, I heard Brian Urlacher was putting up 500 pounds like 10 times, so I don't know what to believe. So.
Yeah, don't believe any of it.
Brian Urlacher played with the bald head and went into the Hall of Fame with a full head of hair. Like, let's
so don't believe anything he says. That's funny. That's funny. Believe nothing the man says. How did this happen?
I was like, this is weird.
Trevor, we really appreciate the time as always. I know you're busy, and obviously you have this cartoon. Yeah, you should be asking one of us to be a voice of one of these cartoons.
Ain't no
I mean,
way,
come on, man.
You're gonna have a cartoon character that looks like John. It'll make it work.
Yeah, that is unbelievable. We're not gonna do that one. I'll come and talk sports before that happens.
He's a smart businessman for a reason. He's a smart
I sit in the big chair in the big office because of those decisions. That's why I have a surfboard. I have a surfboard on my wall because I made those kind of decisions.
Trevor, I say the same thing. I signed the front of the check, not the back of the check.
Facts. Facts.
Thank you. Anyways, Trevor, we really appreciate the time as always. Keep up the good work, and we'd love to get you on in the very near future, my friend.
Yeah, I'll be around. I'll be back around time of Super Bowl because I think we're debuting the trailer. I think during the Super Bowl rated media week. I think.
Really?
I have the trailer. The trailer's on my TV. We're still working on it. So
well, send that to us, and we can send that out as well.
Yeah. Well, when it's ready. When it's done, I send everybody at the same time.
There you go. And like I said, if anybody gets sick, you can ask me to be a little fill in there.
All right, goodbye.
Peace. Peace out.
Trevor, thank you. Well, that didn't work. That pitch didn't work, ladies.
That was a sick mic drop, though, for him.
He's got a good personality. I can say that. Anyways, Trevor Pryce, ladies and gentlemen, great personality. Played for the Jets, played for the Broncos, the Ravens. Gave us some takes about the Jets, and he thinks Rex Ryan would be a great fit. That's what he came out and said. If the Jets decide to go that path again, that he believes that he can get this team winning again. So very interesting, especially from a guy that's been there and been coached by Rex, but Rex hasn't been a coach in it's got to be over 8 years now. It's been a long time since Rex Ryan's been behind, on the sidelines and been behind the decision making of a an NFL football team. So it's very interesting when you're hearing his name being brought up by many different analysts saying that they believe Rex Ryan should be a top 3 pick for the New York Jets. Now you're hearing it from Trevor Pryce, who's actually been coached with the Jets by Rex Ryan. So interesting story. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot more to get into. Khalil Mack takes shots. Yes, he takes a lot of shots, and quite a few of them on Monday Night Football after the Monday night loss. So we'll get into that. And we have a couple of new segments to add, and maybe let's parlay. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
So every to come away with the win against the Wizards as they are leading 125-101 with a minute left in the fourth. As at the end of the third, heading into the fourth, the Bucks have an 85-80 lead over the Heat, while the Rockets right now have a 63-56 lead over the Timberwolves with 10 minutes in the third quarter. And the Spurs and Jazz have just started off here with 7 minutes in the first quarter. The Jazz have a 15-13 lead over the Spurs, and that is all the time I have for you guys. So I'm going to kick it back to the boys for the continuation of Jabba in the Mouth.
Any questions?
We're back. This is the Jabba and the Mouth Show.
Hey, I wasn't pulling it. Goodbye. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to Jabba and the Mouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Jabba Chamberlain, and Speedy Petey. I think he's like spazzed out tonight. I don't know what's going on with Speedy tonight. He's been all over the place. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including Jabba in the Mouth every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Trevor Pryce, ladies and gentlemen, that was fantastic. It was a really good interview as Trevor gave you his takes on a lot of different thoughts with the New York Jets and where did they go in their coaching search, Aaron Rodgers and that complete debacle. And then obviously he spoke about Lamar Jackson, some good takes about Lamar Jackson and how great of a wide receiver, running back, and quarterback he is, because he could do everything on a football field. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. And then obviously spoke about Bo Nix and the difference between Bo Nix and Anthony Richardson, which was a really interesting take too, with the athletic ability that Anthony Richardson provides and Bo Nix's experience and how it changes everything with the experience. And then Patrick Mahomes and a winning mentality over there with the Kansas City Chiefs. And a winning mentality is not for one of these players, and that's Khalil Mack. After the Chargers' Monday night loss to the Ravens, Khalil Mack said that Derrick Henry wasn't hard to face. These comments came after Henry rushed for 140 yards and the Ravens as a team rushed for 212 yards. Mack added he wants a rematch versus the Ravens in the playoffs and knows the outcome will be different. LaShawn McCoy said that the Chargers only beat the weak teams and look different when the spotlight is on them. James Jones also said that the Chargers don't have enough to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender. The Chargers allow 20 points or less per game during the first 9 weeks, but have allowed 27 or more in back-to-back primetime games versus the Bengals and the Ravens. Well, Khalil Mack is a fantastic talent. He has been a fantastic talent in the NFL since he's come out of college and Buffalo. I know this is something that Fish likes to brag about as he comes from that sector. But let's be honest. Khalil Mack should not be talking. He really shouldn't be. Because Derrick Henry has been one of the best running backs in the league. We've argued this over the last 3-4 weeks. Who's the best running back in the league? who's one of the best, who's offensive player of the year? And the argument really goes to running backs. I mean, Jamar Chase has been fantastic, and the wide receiving position is a prima donna position. But Derrick Henry, who came from another organization, who signed on to play for Baltimore, a Baltimore Raven team that's had a legitimate good running backs year in and year out for many, many years. Look at J.K. Dobbins before he got hurt last night. He's had a sensational year coming back from the injuries he's come back from. Derrick Henry is having one of his best statistical seasons of his career. This is a guy that came from Alabama. This is a guy that won a Heisman. Yes, a Heisman Trophy as a running back. And what he has done since he's come to the NFL has just been an absolute dominant tank. He's run over people and has been, and you know what Derrick Henry is going to do. He's going to run up the gut. He is not one of those guys like Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey that can catch the ball in the backfield and do those things on the outside. He is a powered back. He's going to run you over and beat you inside. And that's what he's done strategically for over 7 years in the NFL. He has been unbelievable. And really, if you look at what Derrick Henry's done in his career, he usually starts slow and ends strong. Well, this year, he starts strong, and he's right now, even though over the last 2 weeks, besides last night, it's been up and down, but the last 2 weeks, but this guy has been consistent all season long. Now, Baltimore's offensive line is one of the best in the league. They've been sensational all season long with the depth that they've provided for Lamar Jackson. But nevertheless, Derrick Henry is having one of his best statistical years. You can argue he is the offensive player of the year, but I think it's different now what Saquon Barkley did over the weekend as well, having 300 all-scrimmage yards and been dominant as a running back slash wide receiver, whatever you want to call him. He has been a dual threat. Both of these guys have been so fun to watch. And when we seen Christian McCaffrey go down in the preseason, didn't have a whole season. This is a guy that was offensive player of the year last year and miss 9 games this year and then come back and he's still not 100%. The running back is at a premium. And you see, if you have a dominant running back, it changes everything. You heard it from Trevor Pryce. If you have a good defense and you have a running game, you can win a Super Bowl. You don't necessarily need a star quarterback to win. That is the necessity to win. Rex Ryan knows that. Pete Carroll knows that. And that's why success has happened with these defensive coordinators over the years. It's all about power game football. The fact that Khalil Mack has come out and taken shots at Derrick Henry, shame on him. I don't know what the attacks are to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is one of the more likable players in the NFL. He is not Adrian Peterson. Now, I'm not saying Adrian Peterson wasn't liked, but Adrian Peterson did a lot of interesting things as an NFL player. I'm not going to bring it on live radio. I think everybody knows what Adrian Peterson did and the comments that Adrian Peterson made in the past as an NFL football player. Has anybody heard Derrick Henry go out there and say that he's the best? Have we ever heard Derrick Henry ever take shots at any players on his own team? On Tennessee, when Tennessee was falling apart last year the way they did, firing their coach, the quarterback situation. Did you ever hear him take shots at Ryan Tannehill when Tannehill was there? Never. You never heard Derrick Henry
speak louder
shots
than
at
words. Actions speak louder than words. He doesn't have to say anything. They speak louder than words.
Yes, but again, I understand actions speak louder than words. But again, going back to Derrick Henry, why is Khalil Mack taking shots at a guy that's very well respected, very loved in the NFL? I've never heard an NFL player ever say anything bad about Derrick Henry. As a matter of fact, if you were to ask, I would say a defensive lineman who is one of the hardest players to tackle in the NFL, I would say 9 out of 10 of them would tell you Derrick Henry is in their top 3 when it comes to running backs.
Yeah. And you also don't say running backs each.
Right. And that's say actions speak louder than words because he doesn't have to talk. He goes and does it about like, hey, come stop me. Like this is the way it's going to be. And he's done that his entire career. And for the fact that Khalil Mack to come out and even talk and like
I hope we get them again. Yeah, he hope he gets you again because he's just going to run your face over. That's what he's going to do, and that's what he's done. And he's proven that. That's why I say actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, bulletin board material, giving Derrick Henry, who's already a playoff beast.
I don't think he cares. I do think Derrick Henry cares what Khalil Mack says. Khalil Mack is only on the Chargers.
We all see it, but we all see it. We all see it. Like Speedy just said, bulletin board. Don't give me that. Don't give me that to even more shove it up your ass. Don't give me that. Let sleeping dogs lie, right? Don't give me that. And now you're giving him even more incentive to shove it up, you know what? And he's going to do it.
I will say this, James Jones coming out and saying that the Chargers don't have enough to be legitimate Super Bowl contenders. How does he know? I mean, no offense to James Jones. Okay. He was on the Green Bay Packers. He's had great quarterbacks in the time that he was there. I don't know. He had Brett Favre and he had Aaron Rodgers. And by the way, how many championships did James Jones win? I mean, seriously, bringing up legitimate contenders. Now I'm not saying the Chargers are a contender, but who's to say that they're not? If right. J.K. Dobbins, how bad is J.K. Dobbins' injury? Is he out for the season? Yet. Okay, so if he actually is not out for the season, he comes back. J.K. Dobbins is a good weapon. He's a nice weapon to have. They have enough to make a run. They have a great offensive line. They have a sensational quarterback in Justin Herbert. And they have a good pedigree when it comes to coach. I mean, Jim Harbaugh, say whatever you want from what he is and what he's all about. This guy wins everywhere he goes. He won a national championship over there in Michigan. He's won over there with San Francisco. He went to the Super Bowl, only lost to his brother in the Super Bowl from one play with Colin Kaepernick as his quarterback. I mean, seriously, honest to God, who's to say that the Chargers can't make a run? If the Chargers sneak into the playoffs, they can beat anybody. So I don't know why James Jones is speaking. And as far as LaShawn McCoy, again, another guy, what has he ever won? LaShawn McCoy, I love you, LaShawn. You played for the Eagles. You were drafted by Andy Reid, okay? I love his personality. I love what he stands for. For him to come out and take shots and say that they only beat weak teams, okay, they only beat weak teams.
He's just trying to be relevant. That's what he's doing. He's just trying to be relevant now.
They almost beat the Chiefs. They almost beat the Chiefs. How bad did the Chiefs beat them? Not by much. I mean, that game was as close as any game the Chiefs has had all season long. To say that they're not good and they've only beaten bad teams. Yeah, I mean, on paper they look bad. And like you heard from Trevor Pryce, it's so close. Every single team are so close with talent. It doesn't matter who you beat. You beat who's on your schedule. To say that, and what is their record right now? They're 7-5, 7-4. I mean, 7-4 is a pretty good record playing in a division with the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, to say they're now not relevant at all is ridiculous. Okay, I just think this is going and attacking the situation from Khalil Mack. It's not the team. The Chargers aren't saying these things about Derrick Henry. It was Khalil Mack. And Khalil Mack is going to have to speak up when you do meet them in the playoffs, or if you meet him in the playoffs, and it's because of Derrick Henry, like you were saying, Jabba, he's the reason why you lose against the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are not a good defensive team, not even close. I mean, this team was structured to be one of the elite defenses in the league. Well, this year, they're just not. They're not an elite defense. I drafted them in one of my leagues. They have been absolutely putrid for me, and that's why I dropped them. This is not for years, this team has been a top 5 defense from top to bottom. I mean, look at the secondary talent that they have. Well, they're just not that kind of team this year. Even some of the acquisitions they made in the offseason, you would have thought they would be better. They did lose Queen. He went to Pittsburgh. But nevertheless, this is supposed to be a really good all-around defensive team. They're just not. This is an all-offensive team, and that has a lot to do with Derrick Henry.
most of their problems on defense, though, are not even linebacker. It's corners, it's pass rush. They don't have a lot of it right now. And this is the first year you could probably say in the Ravens franchise history that their offense is great and their defense is a liability. And Trevor's right. Like, you're wasting like the best year of your franchise's history when it comes to the passing game, too. Like, Lamar Jackson's MVP year last year was phenomenal, but his passing numbers are better this year than they were last year. They're using everybody in that offense with the receivers and with the tight ends. As you just saw Fish's highlight, a catch from our friend Charlie Kohler. You got Isaiah Likely, who played well with Andrews hurt. This is a passing offense that you've never seen the Ravens have before, and yet they're wasting it with their defense. And as far as the Chargers, you're right. The Chargers probably have the best defensive turnaround we've ever seen. They were the worst defense in the NFL last year with Brandon Staley, and now they're like a top 5.
I can't say anything on that because it's exactly what it is, where it becomes, what are you going to do? Like, we've made adjustments. We've done these, like, and you're coming at us for what reason? Really? Like, what? I mean, really, you're adding fuel to the fire, right? And like, okay, keep adding fuel. And then if you get us again, let's see what happens. Here we go. Let's run it back. I'm okay with that. Let's do it. So that's just me. Like, I let sleeping dogs where they lay. If you beat me up and you run over me, boom, I'm gonna let it go. I don't want to wake up the sleeping dog and make that bulletin board material.
Is he a sleeping dog? I don't know if he's a sleeping dog. I just think that
because he doesn't talk though, and that's the reason I say it in that way.
Hey guys, I love the University of Buffalo. I had a lot of fun there in college. I didn't love the football team. The football program when I was there, until the last semester I was there, they were ranked, I believe, 107, whatever the last ranked team is in Division I sports. They were that bad. And then we had one or two guys made the league. There was a backup quarterback for the Jets, Drew Willie, that was the quarterback of that team. And James Starks actually lived upstairs from me. He was the backup running back for the Packers back in the day. Khalil Mack is by far the best player to ever come out from that place. And that guy has an irrational confidence of being a big fish in a little pond when he played college football. He was incredible when he played college football. I wish I had some of those highlights. But I'll tell you, this guy is still a great football player, and he thinks that he's just as good as Derrick Henry. And he thinks he's just going to talk his smack because people forget how good he is. He's still a 91 PFF score this year, which is top 5 in the league. He is a great, great defensive player. Does he play on every snap like he used to? Does he run his mouth a lot? Is he as strong in the run game as you would like him to be? Maybe not. But he's a great player. And he still thinks it. So, Jabba, my question to you,
but that doesn't give him the right to open his mouth about a guy that is up for Offensive Player of the Year.
Yes, it does, though, because he's still in top 5.
He's still a guy that sees himself as a defensive player of the year every year. So my question was about that.
That has nothing to do with the fact that you're attacking a guy that is an elite running back still. I don't want to hear that he's not making the All-Pro team. He's not making the Pro Bowl this year. I guarantee you.
I think he's going to be an All-Pro.
No way.
So put it to the same perspective too, in the same aspect is, so you think you're the best at what you do, right? Are you still not going to talk your talk and do what you do? There are some guys that do that. Like, are you still going to talk your talk?
You're contradicting what you just said. Then
I'm 100% let sleeping dogs lie. But at the same time, if you feel like you're that perspective, and that's what you are, and your numbers show that, then I can't literally argue with you in the fact that you're doing it. I wouldn't do it, but that's just me personally. But at the same time,
my question,
can't argue about it.
Who did you play with that's like that? Who did you play with that would just talk their shit like nonstop? That like it didn't matter who they were playing, who they were saying it to. Could have been like Randy Johnson at the peak of his powers. He's still gonna talk shit to him.
Man, I've played with a bunch. One that comes to mind that he never, I wouldn't say was a superstar, wasn't whatever, but Nick Swisher comes to mind because he was productive. He did everything and he talked his talk, but at the same time, he still went and hit 20
hit you 280, got you 90 steaks, and he's still going to talk his talk. I get it. I understand you can do that when you have that, I guess would be the stable aspect of what you are. Like, you may not be like, and is Khalil Mack a superstar? Yes, 100%. He is what he is. Is Derrick Henry? Yes. But Derrick Henry doesn't have to. He's the Derek Jeter of football. He doesn't have to say shit. He goes about and does his business. That's what he does. There are guys that aren't built that way, and that's what happens. But I let sleeping dogs lie when they lie because I don't want to wake them up.
Khalil Mack is not having a good season. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't care about his PFF. Besides everything that you're seeing, he has 4.5 sacks right now. It's tied for 54th in the league. He is solo right now when it comes to tackles, 150 plus. Okay, he's not having a good year, and he shouldn't be opening his mouth. He doesn't lead. He's not amongst league when it comes league leaders in sacks, where that's what he led the league for many, many years, amongst the league's best. This guy is not the same player he was, and I don't want to hear about PFF. Okay, that's a statistic, and another statistic that is brought up that was built by these statisticians with their stupid fantasy leagues. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, Khalil Mack should not be opening his mouth. I loved him in Buffalo. I love him as a player. He is not anywhere close to the player Derrick Henry is right now. It's not even close. And the fact that he's opening his mouth, I hope Derrick Henry shoves his football foot up his ass, okay? Because he shouldn't be opening his mouth. He is nowhere close to what he was when he
So
was.
should no player ever open their mouth and say anything?
No, you're not anywhere close to the talent that other player is. He really isn't anymore. He's not.
By the way, they're both in the NFL.
That's
They're
fine.
They're
That's
obviously
great.
good enough.
Great. Congratulations. And he's making millions and millions of dollars. Congratulations, Khalil Mack. I'm happy for him. I wish I had his money. I definitely would love it. I'd be hanging out in a Corvette or a Lamborghini and talking crap too. But guess what? If you're going to come out and bring up a player that is one of the biggest dominant forces right now in the NFL, and you're nowhere close to the player you once were, I think you should zipper your lip, because it makes you look really stupid. And then you have old guys or guys that haven't been in a league for a long time, like little Sean McCoy or Jones coming out. Or you're going to hear somebody like Brett Favre, who just came down with Parkinson's, by the way. That's a horrible story, by the way. But you're going to hear stuff from these guys and say, why the hell is this guy speaking? He's nowhere close to the player he once was. So I think it's ridiculous, and it makes him look really, really stupid. That's just me, as far as I'm concerned with this whole story. But again, we'll see what happens if they do meet in the playoffs. That would be something. That would be really, really something to see Derrick Henry give him a nice little wink. He's not going to speak. He'll give him a nice little wink when he puts up like 200 yards in that game and 2 touchdowns. That would be something to watch. There's no question. All right, guys, we have a new segment. As we've been bringing new segments on the show, and we're going to call. We've renamed a new segment that we've had years ago, Speedy, and we kind of moved this around, and we call this segment "What's That Smell?"
What's that smell?
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So here's the way we're going to play this. All right, everybody is going to have an opportunity. Okay, actually, I'm giving you the chance to kind of host this. Give the people their what we're going to do now when it comes to what's that smell.
So each of us are going to tell you a story or something that funny that happened in a game, or in news, or it doesn't even have to be sports if it's related to it. Probably gonna be related to sports with us, but because that's what we're watching. But something that really bothered you that we're not going to spend a whole bunch of time on it, but we want to give you guys a quick take to let you know we're paying attention and we have some thoughts on a lot of things. And Errol, I think it's good. It's really like, what does it smell like is what we're all going to decide. It could smell like roses for some of us. Some of us it's going to smell probably
cow
like
dump or
I don't
cow
know.
manure, or
or does it smell, or is it going to give us a good smell?
How about Jabba shorts? I mean, that's
like a porta potty you walked in after Mackay Becton. Like that's what it could smell like
All
that
right,
bad.
so let's get some music
So here we
on
go.
at the right
Yep.
time here. So
Actually harmful.
Yeah, here we go. So we're gonna go. Here's how we're gonna go. We're gonna go Jabba, Fish, Scoop, Speedy, me. Here we go.
I'm gonna go on my end. Having a 3-year, $63 million deal. That's what I'm gonna go off of. Because is that setting a market? Does it stink? Does it smell good for those middle of the road guys to set the market for Snell and other guys signing? Kyle Hendricks signed early, which I was going to bring that up, but he didn't really do anything. But you get a 3-year, $63 million deal with a 9-10 average. So how does that smell? What's that do? I don't know.
Okay.
All right, guys. So that's the first one. You say, Kikuchi, what does that smell like? Next up, Tommy. Wait, let's go to Speedy. Petey.
No. You. It goes W, Scoop, Speedy, me. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, my story comes from something that is near and dear to me. I lived in Tampa, Florida for a few years, and they just got struck by a really bad hurricane, Hurricane Milton. They always talked a lot of smack about how they never got hit by hurricanes, and they didn't until this year, unfortunately. Well, they're not going to be able to fix Tropicana Field, and the Rays are going to have to play at Steinbrenner Field, which is the Yankees' low A and rookie ball stadium, and it's right across from where the Bucks play in Tampa. They might be there for a while. There's talk that they were going to build a new stadium. They now don't have the money to fix the old one, and they're also trying to build a new one. The politics down there smells like crap, guys.
Smells like crap. Bring the music down a little bit so we can hear everybody. It's a little too loud over there. All right, Scoops, give us your what's that smell?
Mine's is going to be a performance, and the Monday Night Football watchers know the performance I'm going to bring up yesterday, but I'm going to be talking about Quentin Johnston on the Los Angeles Chargers. Wide receiver number 1 for the Chargers. First overall pick, but first overall wide receiver pick from TCU. Aside from his 118 yards, 1 touchdown game that he had against the Browns, he's been pretty consistently scoring a touchdown in every game in November. This team doesn't win pretty, but Harbaugh gets this team going. He gets this team rolling, and Harbaugh actually had a lot of praise for this guy, showing that, especially since he loves himself some Justin Herbert and Quentin Johnston. He said he had a hard time defending against him in his game, the playoff game, TCU against Michigan back in 2022. However, Quentin Johnston yesterday recorded 5 targets, 0 catches, 0 yards, and 3 drops. Now, literally every single player on the Chargers contributed at least 1 yard except for Quentin Johnston. So out of a guy who is the wide receiver number 1, that's a pretty bad performance. And I'm going to have to steal Fish's what's that smell. And it smells like crap, guys. That was a crappy performance. If you're a Chargers fan, I'm sorry. And if you had him on your fantasy team, I'm also sorry.
All right, so mine will be the I wish Wes was here for Let's Parlay. He would have liked this one. I'm going to take shots at Brian Kelly. There were reports of several players saying that he barely even talks to them. That's a really bad look for a coach. I mean, his tenure with LSU has already been bad enough as it is, but not even talk to your players, just say a couple simple words. That smells really bad. It smells like a combination of the swamp. It smells like Brian Kelly's southern accent and the dog crap that Jeff should have been eating last year. So all 3 of that smells Brian Kelly's LSU tenure. What's your Wu-Tang pie with one? And that. We can add that to the mix.
My what's that smell is Deion Sanders is livid that Colorado star Travis Hunter isn't a finalist for the Top DB Award. I'm going to give him mine, as he came out and said over the week, crying about Travis Hunter not being up for the Jim Thorpe Award. Here's the thing. Right now, and again, rankings mean everything. And when you look at statistics, you could see that. Will Johnson's had a great year. Benjamin Morrison has had a good year. I mean, I'm looking at statistics right now. As good as Travis Hunter has been all season long, he's not even in the top 3 when it comes to all-purpose defensive DBs in the league, in the college, in the NCAA right now. I understand what Deion Sanders is saying. This guy is going to be a top 3 pick. We understand what talent he is, but to cry about this, it means nothing to him. This guy is going to make a lot of money. This guy is going to be the first two-way player to be drafted in the NFL and be great at both his positions. So you know what that smells like? It smells like, I don't know, it smells like Deion Sanders' breath. That's what it smells like, because we got to listen to it every single time this guy speaks. So that's what it smells like. And by the way, he needs some mouthwash, because he's crying about everything and he doesn't shut the hell up.
He can mouthwash with all the Arabian money he's bringing in.
I mean, statistic. I mean, if he wants to, and that's what Deion Sanders likes to do. He likes to look at stats, and stats would tell you that Travis Hunter is not even a top 3 corner this year in college football. So what is he crying about? That's what you look at when you're voting, or you're obviously up for an award like a Jim Thorpe Award for best corner in all of college football. Statistics would tell you that you should be on every single level. He's not. He's the better two-way player than all of them, but he's not. And Deion's got to stop. Obviously, for some reason he's up Hunter's jockstrap or something like that, and that's why I said it probably smells like his breath. I mean, obviously the guy doesn't shut up, so
his jockstrap probably smells too.
And that was What's That Smell?
It's kind of like a tongue twister tonight. I don't know what it is, but I will say this: Deion Sanders, he has a love fest for his son. He has a love fest for Travis Hunter. I love Travis Hunter. As a matter of fact, if you were to ask me right now for the number 1 pick right now in college football, I would draft Travis Hunter. I think he is the first two-way player at his position that could be a top 3 corner and a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL.
No chance. No chance.
You watch. I guarantee you he will be. I guarantee you he will be. I'm telling you. Watch, Dalba. He will. This guy, I mean, his stamina and his ability to get on the field, and how many
Stamina's one thing. He's too small.
Too small? How is he too small? He's what, 6'1"? Right? He's like 6'1" at the cornerback position, wide receiver. I mean, he's fast.
To play both on the NFL side?
100%.
No.
100%. Absolutely. I'm looking up Travis Hunter's his size right now as a.
You can look up whatever you want.
He's 6'1", and I guarantee you he'll probably want a 4'3". And you're going to tell me that he can't be a good wide receiver in the NFL and a good corner?
And do both? No.
100%. 100%. I
mean, I would put him at receiver personally, but I really think that that's a guy that when you talk about someone who could change the game and you can throw him in there every once in a while, have him play a little D-back, yet especially in obvious passing situations. If he's like your dime back and you can throw him in there when you need him, that's pretty nice to have as an offensive player. And that might give you more ancillary value in a contract in a way that it does, not the same way, but in a similar way as Ohtani does.
You're not drafting him in the top 3 for him just to play wide receiver. Okay.
No, you're getting an anomaly. You're not going to get what he's the best at, because he has to pick and choose because I don't think he's the best at each one of those. If he excelled at one of them, I think he has a potential to be the best at those, right? But playing both, you just can't be the best at that. There's very many unicorns in this world, and there's been very few in the football world.
But hold on one second. Travis Hunter, but Deion Sanders saying that Travis Hunter is a better player at his age than he ever was playing college football. This is Deion Sanders, who everybody says is the greatest corner to ever play in the NFL. So he's saying he was a better player at his position before he even stepped on an NFL field. And then coming out and saying that he is as good a wide receiver we've seen come out of the draft in the last 5 years. So to say that, and by the way, he has 82 receptions for 1,036 yards and 11 touchdowns, averaging 12.6 every single catch. So honestly, if there's anybody that can do it, it's him. And I expect him to play both ways in the NFL. I expect him to do that. I don't know if he's the number one shutdown corner on another team. If the Giants draft him, he's the number 2 guy. And he's the number 2 guy as far as I'm concerned. Well, everybody's going to say, well, he's the number 1 guy right now for the Giants because there's nobody. But
he's not going to get that many on both sides of the fence. You know what I'm saying?
Why not?
They'd have to limit his snap count.
You have to, because you aren't playing in college anymore. This isn't college, Errol. This is the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And you're playing against guys, like, understand he can't get that many snaps because he's going to be dead.
I don't know about he's going to be dead. He's young. He could play 5 years like that. And he's not going to play every snap.
I'm not saying
he's
dead.
going to play every
I'm not saying
snap.
dead literally. I'm saying dead is you can't compete.
If you play him, all right. So how many? If you look at it, who he is and what his capabilities are, and you can see him in college football, he's playing on almost every single snap, offensively and defensively.
He's playing 85% of the snaps.
If you cut him down and he plays two snaps on the offensive side of the ball in the NFL and two snaps on the defensive side of the ball, how many snaps is he going to have in a game? He's going to have about 30 to 40 snaps. You're going to tell me he can't? I see running backs doing it, so why can't he do it? I don't know.
Fish has a better perspective as a coach. Do you think that's sustainable?
I don't think it's going to be even. Is this something you do? Like I said before, I think he's going to be more like an extra D-back, a dime back, and he's going to be like a star receiver. And then you can use him in certain packages so that his snap count, he'll play almost all of the snaps on offense, and then he'll give you like a dozen or so on defense, giving you more value than a regular player. Still less than he's doing right now in college, but more than what most everyone else is doing. And if he's getting tired, you give him a blow on offense.
He's going to be a corner. If he gets drafted, he's a corner. He is going to be a star corner in the NFL. He's not going to be a wide receiver. I'm telling you.
He's incredible at receiver, man. He does everything at receiver.
And
corner, I think he has incredible intuition, but I think he's great at receiver. If
Deion Sanders came out and said that he is better than he was at his age at the cornerback position, what position are you going to get drafted as? You're going to get drafted as a corner. That's
I say the same
more
thing.
Valuable in my eyes than it is a wide receiver.
My son's better than me than I was at his age, but that doesn't mean is it going to work.
Who scores more points?
What do you mean?
Wide receiver or corner?
It doesn't matter. To me, what is
I
more?
think it does.
What does it matter? What matters more at the position right now in the NFL? A star corner or star wide receiver? I think a star corner. They're harder to find. Wide receivers are easy to find. You can find wide receivers in the 3rd or 4th round. It's very hard to find a star corner in the 4th or 5th round. It's very hard. Very hard. So to sit here and say that if you're going to look at the position, I've seen star corners get drafted in the 5th or 4th round in the last couple of years. I have not seen one, as far as I'm concerned, as a corner, except Michael Carter, who's not even, I wouldn't even say a star. He's a great nickel corner right now in the NFL, but he's not a star corner.
Tariq Woolen would probably be a better example. 5th round,
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to find those guys. I'm going to tell you this right now. If I'm a team, if I'm drafting Travis Hunter in the top 5, I'm drafting him as a corner, not a wide receiver.
Quickly before we Reno Johnny for last parlay. Tom Downey, answer your question. I don't mind Burden, but I would rather have the Arizona receiver. I always forget his name, but McMillan, I think something like that.
I don't know. I'm not a Deion Sanders fan, but if I'm going to take Deion on his crap that comes out of his mouth, and by the way, it's making that sound again. Fish, we got to get that fixed. It's horrible during the show. It really is. It makes so much noise, but I honestly think if Deion Sanders is saying this guy is a game-changing corner, I'm drafting him as a corner. That's just me.
He's going to go in the top 5. That's a given.
Would you, if you're a team right now, do you draft him? If you have your choice right now, do you draft him as a top 5 player, as a wide receiver or corner? Honestly.
As a receiver?
Because you got to. I wouldn't. I wouldn't do
score. You got to score.
Okay. I'll tell you what, Fish. You want to make a bet? I'll make a bet with you.
Oh, I want to make a bet too.
I'll make a bet with you. If this kid gets drafted in the top 5, whoever's drafting him, they're drafting him because of his corner play, not because of his wide receiver play. That's an addition to what they can use him as. They're going to draft him as a corner because Deion Sanders.
How do we settle it? How many snaps he takes on either side next year? Whichever side he takes more snaps on.
We'll figure it out when he gets drafted. We'll figure it out when he gets drafted because.
Well, just what they say when he gets drafted could be complete BS. I think the only way to prove it is
look at the team.
We have to do this a year from now.
Yeah, you could look at the team. If you look at the team on who's drafting him, you could probably suggest to think that's what they're going to use him for. Right now, who's the top 5 right now in Tankathon? Tankathon right now. Because if
Panthers
it's a Giant,
are there.
If the Giants draft him, they're drafting him as a corner. That's who the Giants are drafting him as. They're not drafting him as a wide receiver. They have Malik Neighbors. So the Giants right now are the number 2 pick. So if Hunter goes to the Giants, they're drafting him as a corner. They're not drafting him as a wide receiver. He's an additional wide receiver to Malik Neighbors. It depends on the team. It really does. Vegas.
Well, the Giants would do the wrong thing, so I wouldn't be surprised. Whatever they choose will be the wrong one.
If Vegas drafts him at 3, they're probably drafting him as a corner. Okay, they're not drafting him as a wide receiver. Now, New England is the type of team that would draft him as a wide receiver. Now, if New England does go after, they need a star number 1 wide receiver, that would make sense. New England, Carolina, I don't know. Horn can't stay healthy. They drafted Horn. I would probably say corner for Carolina if they drafted Hunter. That's my thoughts, especially. Actually, I don't know. Carolina,
but Fish. I think you're right. We have to see how many snaps is he actually going to take on both sides of the ball.
It also depends on the team that drafts him.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that either.
Which makes it a fun bet. It could be pretty random, the outcomes of that, which is really fascinating because there has never been a guy that's been this talented on both sides where it's a legitimate question.
Where we're having this conversation, right? Like where we're actually having this conversation. Errol, I'll bet you $1,000. He starts more on the offensive side than he does the defensive side.
It depends on the team. We'll make that bet wherever he goes. Wherever he goes,
put your money where your mouth is.
I'm not going to put my money where. I just said it matters where he goes. If he goes to the Giants, he's a corner.
No, talk about what it is, not where he gets drafted. Talk about it right now.
Jabba, you're squaring off on money that's sitting in your pocket pretty easy. I'm not going to bet $1,000 unless I know where he's going. I'm not going to sit there and, hey, you know what? I'm just going to throw $1,000 away because I can. You know, I'm not a drunk guy, and I'm not going to sit here and make something up. If he goes to New England,
I'm not making it up either.
Yeah, but again, you're going to sit there and make the bet just for the making a bet. You lost how much money on a bet? $300,000. Who cares?
You're not supposed to tell anybody.
But I'm just saying, it doesn't mean anything to you. I mean, seriously, what's $1,000 to you? So I'm just saying, it depends on where he goes. If he goes to Jacksonville, we can argue that. If he goes to Jacksonville, he's definitely a corner. He is not a wide receiver, especially where they went in the draft, and they have a star wide receiver over there. That's sensational. So
let's give away $100 to one of our fans. Speedy, ask a question. Whoever answers it will cash app them $100.
I'm not going to do mobile money stuff. That's your job.
Well, you have to answer the question. I'll send it.
We'll do that next week. We'll do that next week for Thanksgiving. That's what we'll do. We'll think of a question, and we'll do it next week. And then fans will tune in. We'll tune in because we'll promote it where they have a chance to win $100. So that's what we'll do. So, and we won't tell them when we're going to do it.
It's Thanksgiving. Let's give 500. Let's give 500.
All right. So you guys got to tune in on Monday or Wednesday. We're not going to tell you what day, so you got to listen. And there's a specific time of the show where you can win $500. There you go for Thanksgiving. So you have a chance to win some money, ladies and gentlemen. So there you you go. Jabba Chamberlain has given you that option. By the way, I'm sure Reno Johnny.
No, it's our show. It's not just me. It's our show, you jackass.
Of course, I know that. But Reno Johnny might be tuning in too because he could use that money as well.
Perfect.
He's smirking. So let's go to a quick break. And when we come back, we'll have Reno Johnny joining us for a quick Let's Parlay. But first, Tommy Scoops for our Sports Minute.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
In the NFL, in Seattle, the Seahawks add to their secondary, claiming A.J. Finley, defensive back who was just waived by the Chargers recently before yesterday's Monday Night Football game against the Ravens. So the team actually cut defensive end Miles Adams to make room for Finley, like I mentioned, helping room for their secondary. And shifting it now to the NBA, the Sixers announced that star players Paul George and Joel Embiid were going to be out tomorrow night against the Rockets, as this will be marking the 12th game that Embiid has missed out of the 16 games that the Sixers have played, and this will be Paul George's 8th miss on the year. Finishing it off with some college football now, the latest CFP rankings are revealed, with top 4, Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, and Penn State are going to be remaining in the top 4, as however, new teams have emerged and taken the top 12 new spots for the top 12 teams in the playoffs. As now for Scoops to Scores, in the NBA, the Rockets have a 1.97-96 lead over the Timberwolves with 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, as the Jazz have a 66-59 lead over the Spurs with 2 minutes remaining in the second quarter. And any minute now, the Lakers and Suns are expected to tip off. And that is all the time I have for you, ladies and gentlemen. So here is the boys on Jabba and the Mouth.
Any questions?
What is this? This is the Jabba and the Mouth Show.
Wow, Speedy got it right. I mean, at least the tracks tonight are filling, ladies and gentlemen. Big pun. DMX, I mean, he's been all over the place. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to Jabba and the Mouth. I'm your host, Errol Marsh, my co-host, Jabba Chamberlain, Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including Jabba in the Mouth, every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Reno Johnny is here for Let's Parlay.
It's time for Let's Parlay.
All right, Reno Johnny, there is no Wes, but Wes sent us his winners. So you have a chance to win some money, as Wes has been pretty hot. And Reno Johnny, you've been pretty hot as well. Are you ready, my friend?
Always ready.
All right. Give us your top 4.
I wish I had a couple other guys here because I'm going to give up my first play, and I could have used some talking out of this play. Give me the Bears. Take the Bears plus 10 on Thanksgiving in Detroit. I know Detroit's been on fire. They've killed it. I want to take credit too. About 3 to 4 years ago, I was the biggest backer of the Lions. I knew they were going to be good. I backed them a lot. They were getting a lot of points in every week. They were cover machines. I think that one year they went 6-1 against the spread. They were 0-7 on the year. They were cover machines. And this year, I cannot back them because they're just too heavily priced. But I look at last year. This is another situation. Last year, they welcomed the Packers on Thanksgiving. They were laying more than a touchdown. And Green Bay really showed up on Thanksgiving. It was more like Jordan Love's coming out party. He had a fantastic day. The defense kind of melted under the pressure there of Thanksgiving. And I look at this defense of Detroit, and they are missing pieces. It's not just Hutchinson. They're missing a linebacker. They're missing a cornerback. They're missing key pieces on that defense. I just see this game as Caleb Williams. If you look at a buy low spot and a sell high spot, you can't have better matchup in this Detroit and the Chicago game on Thanksgiving. I'm getting double digits in the NFL. I'm going to take the Bears here in a chance that they just kind of hang around, maybe kind of get off to a good start, give it away late like they've done the last couple of weeks with the missed field goal against Green Bay, and then last week making an improbable comeback. By the way, I was on the Bears. I was hoping they would not kick the field goal to tie because I didn't want it to go to overtime. But this is just a team that's kind of been beat up, and I think I like them getting the 10 points. So I'm going to take them. Grabbing 10 on the road in Detroit, open up Thanksgiving. I'll be midway through cooking, so I'm either going to be.
You mean your wife's going to be cooking? You're going to be watching.
No, so I actually do the cooking, a lot more of the cooking in my house. My wife can cook, but I do most of the cooking.
Wow, listen to you, man.
Yeah, I do.
Well, that's a pretty sexy background right there, man. Is that your house?
No, yeah, I wish. Not my house.
Looked like Trevor Pryce's office a little bit.
Yeah. Was that fake, Trevor?
Let's see here. We got week 14 in college.
I'm mad at Trevor, by the way.
I'm looking for my notes here. Where the heck is it?
He's lost, ladies and gentlemen.
I usually have other people that give plays.
While you're looking, we'll give you Wes's picks for the week.
All right, so he's got a Texas State +1. He's got his Ohio State Buckeyes -20.5 to blow out Michigan. USC +7.5, and Arizona Wildcats football +9.
So there you go. You got yourself 4 winners right there from the old Wesser, the bald man who won himself a jersey. He has it. By the way, he sent me a picture of his jersey. So I actually lost a bet with him, so I sent him a jersey. So go ahead.
All right. Next play. We're going to go to Cincinnati. Look, I'm not high on the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've been winning games, but they've been winning games in like a non-traditional fashion. Their defense has been great. They won against the Ravens. They didn't score a touchdown. That's just not going to be sustainable in the long term. And they're facing a Bengals team that is really backs against the wall. And Joe Burrow is catching a lot of slack. But I got to say, his numbers, he's in rare company. Only 5 quarterbacks have ever put up the numbers that he has. And Tom Brady did it like 3 times, so that counts. And not had a winning record. The last 5 guys that did it, Drew Brees, Tom Brady a couple times, all went no more than 3 losses in a season, including 4 times they won a Super Bowl. Bengals are 4-7. I mean, it's unprecedented, the numbers he's putting up and the record of the Bengals. I've said it before, T. Higgins is their biggest X factor on offense. With him, their offense goes a lot better. They're laying 3 points, but they're in a situation where they need to win to make the playoffs. They got to start making progress in their division, at least for a wild card spot. At 4 losses, they're already on that cusp. It's almost like win every week to kind of make the playoffs. So I like them laying the 3. If you can get a decent price on a first half bet, I wouldn't be opposed to laying a nice money line on the first half. I think that they're in just a precarious position where they have to win the game. And so we're going to lay it with them. I'm a big fan of Joe Burrow. I just think he's kind of catching some bad luck this season where it's not really panning out his way. So against the Steelers, who I think just offensively are a mess, I just are not. I think Najee Harris gets a couple yards of carry. You can kind of contain him. Russell Wilson. I think he's been done for a few years now. Just not a fan of their offense, and their defense is great, but on the road in Cincinnati and you have, was it George Pickens, like the weather? You play in Pittsburgh. Like, you can't go to a snowy game and say the weather. You play in Pittsburgh. You're going to have home games where you are going to have 3 feet of snow. So I think they're just a situation where I think they're just not ready to win, not ready to take the next step. Give me the Bengals -3. And then I'm going to go to Boise State. I'm going to lay with Boise State. I'm a bit high on Boise State. I have a ticket for them to make the playoff this year. I had a ticket preseason for them to make the playoffs. I'm a big Boise State. I'm a Mountain West guy. So I think, I look at the Kellen Moore years with Boise State, always was right there, never had the opportunity to make.
You put your mortgage on it.
That was the BCS. No, I thought of mortgage. That was the BCS era. I was top 2. And so they were scheduling tough non-conference games, winning those games, going undefeated and still getting shit on with the Fiesta Bowl and never having an opportunity. This is their year. And so I think right now you can assume they're going to win. I think they're the best team in the Mountain West, bar none. They also now are in the position to have a bye week, just the way that it's shaking out, and to have the first round bye in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to let any chance on the line. Last week was kind of a letdown game. They did win the game, but it was in Wyoming, and it was a game where it's tied going into the fourth quarter, 10-10. They do pull it out. I think you have a really big bounce back game. And let me just say this. I think Ashton Jonty is the Heisman. I really believe he's.
I was literally just going to ask you that. Do you think Ashton is that dude?
I think he is that dude. I think he is the Heisman. I think the reason why we're going where he's the underdog right now with Travis Hunter is because he does play two ways. And if you get into that conversation, I'll do it real quick. If he gets drafted, he's going to be primarily a corner. I agree with the fact that it's harder to find a corner. What I don't agree with is he's not playing two ways. Yeah, Deion Sanders in his prime played 50.
But you do have him as a corner.
I do have him as a corner because it's harder to find a corner. And Deion Sanders in his prime, played 50% offensive snaps, 80% on defense. And again, I look at 20 years ago, I got high school kids that I coach and I coach against that it's a different game. And Deion Sanders competed at a time where I'm not taking anything away from him, but it's like baseball. 30 years ago, guys weren't throwing 100 miles an hour. Now you can't find a guy that doesn't throw 100 miles an hour. It's just a different game. So I don't think that he can translate. Yeah, in college, he's a stud. He was a stud in high school. But in NFL, you can't play that often both ways. You just can't do it. So I think –
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Not that often, but if you play 2 plays on offense and 2 plays on defense, every single back, I
think he's going to be a gimmick guy on offense. I think he's going to be primarily defense, and he'll be a guy you have packages for him.
Thank you.
But he's not going to play 50% of snaps. He's going to play a snap, a series, maybe every other series, maybe. He's just going to be defense primary. But okay, so yeah, Jonty for me is the MVP because I think he's doing something at the running back position that hasn't been done since Barry Sanders. Maybe
you're comparing to Derrick Henry's Heisman year. I think was the last one close.
Yeah, I think I could see that, but I think Jonty is the MVP, the Heisman. I don't think he's going to win it. I think it's become more a popularity contest, but I just think Boise in this spot, laying the 19 off what we would say is a letdown spot last week. This is going to be a buy low spot on them, laying the 19 points. So I'm going to take them. And then the other way, final play. I went 3-1 last week, right?
Yes.
This may not be that 3-1 week because I'm throwing out some haymakers here. I'm going to fade Colorado actually at getting plus 16.5 with Oklahoma State, who has not had a good year. They actually came in this year with the guy that was supposed to be in the front running in Gordon for the Heisman. He really hasn't looked as good. That could be a combination of two with the way the offense has looked for Oklahoma State. But I look at Colorado now and what are we playing for? Right? They did control their own destiny. They did have an opportunity to make the playoff. They were ranked number 16, I think. They laid the egg against Kansas, which, by the way, if Kansas had played like this all year, they're a dark horse playoff team. They just really got unlucky at the beginning of the year. But now you have a 3-loss, bottom-ranked 2015 Colorado, and you really don't have – they have no shot at the playoff, I believe, at this point in time. I don't think they can make the Big 12 championship game. That's really their only avenue for it. It kind of becomes almost like a de facto bowl game. How many people are going to get up? You got guys like Shedeur Sanders, who, his dad's the coach. He's going to play, but he's looking at getting drafted right next year. I don't know how much motivation these guys have. I know Deion Sanders is the big motivational guy, but at the end of the day, it's not college football like it was 20 years ago. These guys really don't give a crap about your motivation when they're looking at the paycheck in the NFL. They really don't. And so now you have nothing to play for. You're looking at guys that are looking for the next level. And I think Colorado too, they just picked up the number 1 quarterback or number 2 quarterback in the high school draft. So they're already turning the page.
That's not going to last because Deion's heading to the NFL. So.
Well, I'm going to say we'll say that he does, but either way, I think the Colorado season is kind of taking a turn where they may not be as motivated as we think following a loss, and they're laying a lot of points on a defense, which, by the way, as good as Travis Hunter is, I think the defense is terrible. And they showed it last week. You can run on these guys. So if you do anything like the Kansas Jayhawks did with running the football, I think they can be in a lot of trouble. Bowman can be mobile with his legs, use Gordon in both ways, and you cover the 16.5. Those would be my 4 plays for the week.
All right, my friend. have a happy Thanksgiving, and make sure you cook me some stuffing and send it. Mail it to me. Hopefully,
that's what you want. It's the worst dish of
I
Thanksgiving.
like stuffing. I like good
The
stuffing.
worst.
That's the worst. I don't think I've had
I
stuffing
like
in
stuffing.
10
What?
years, a decade.
I also like candy yams too. I like that too. I like that.
We do some yams, but stuffing. Come on, man.
Well, I like stuffing. What's wrong with that?
It's terrible. It's dry. No
You know what?
flavor.
Screw you and screw you, Jabba. I like what I like, and I'm gonna eat it. When I get a chance to eat it, I'm gonna eat it. Speedy, you like to munch on things, right?
I like pretty much all Thanksgiving food that isn't.
But you like to munch on
that
things,
isn't-
right?
Yes, that's how you eat food.
Or horseradish.
Yes.
Well, okay.
No,
There you
I
go.
wouldn't put horseradish in it.
Oh, well, there's other things that you like to munch on too.
Yes.
Goodbye.
That's called food.
Well, other things that
No.
could be called food
No.
in many different ways.
No, I'm not a cannibal.
I'll share a Wu-Tang pie with the one.
And I'm definitely not doing that.
All right, Johnny, but have a happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you next week.
Y'all too happy Thanksgiving, fellas.
Thank you.
Reno Johnny, ladies and gentlemen, he's fantastic as always. And look, Speedy, if you want OnlyFans, or if you have OnlyFans, go check out Speedy Beatty, ladies and
Men
gentlemen.
in Black memory eraser.
There it is. And you'll definitely need a memory eraser when you have to look at his pictures. That's for damn sure.
I'll admit I'm not photogenic. I've done that my whole life.
How about naked?
No.
I mean,
No.
if you would rate yourself 1 to 10, what would you rate yourself?
4. I already told you this years ago. You really do have selective amnesia.
You think I'm going to remember that?
You say it all the time.
Well, wait a second. I've never asked you what you would
Yes,
rate
you
yourself.
did. Yes, you
When was the last time
Yes,
I did
you
that?
have.
When was the last time
At
I
least
did
2
that?
months ago.
No way did I ask you that 2 months ago. No way. I never asked you that 2 months ago. I don't remember that. Unless I was in it, I had amnesia or something like that.
Yes, you have selective amnesia, and you will not
Not
admit it.
selective. Not
Yes,
selective.
selective.
You're out of your damn mind. You've lost it. I never asked you that. What would you rate yourself if you were naked? I never asked you that.
Oh, not if you were naked, but
That's what I asked you.
What didn't specify naked.
Are you
okay.
listening to me? Have you lost your mind?
You asked what I would rate myself.
I would rate you. Yeah, I want to know what you would rate yourself naked.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, naked. Okay. That's still all right.
What
fine.
would you rate
A
yourself?
3.
Who rates himself a 3?
Somebody that has my problems.
You have no problems. You just don't have any confidence.
No.
We got to do that.
No.
We got to take it to a strip club.
No.
No, I wouldn't.
But this is a perfect fill-in. Let's get fishing because we have a new segment for everybody, and it's such a good one. And we're going to call this segment, moving forward, Analytics.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It's Analytics.
I want everybody together to go ahead and say penis, 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 vagina, vagina, vagina.
All right, Fish. So obviously, Jabba is going to host this moving forward, but I want you to explain this segment.
All right. So this segment is going to be called Analytics. And Speedy, who is our resident master of analytics, and we're going to put the rules up for you to follow along, is going to have a analytical stat of the day that Errol, who's not an analytical genius, is going to have to figure out within 3 clues. On the other hand, Errol is going to give Speedy a slang innuendo, or what sometimes Speedy calls gross sexual crap. And he is going to have to try to figure out what that means. And they will each get a chance to get it after 0 clues.
He's
1
got to
clue,
use it
or
in
2
a
clues.
sentence, too. He's got to use it in a sentence. So no
And
matter if he
you
knows
use
it or
in a
not.
sentence,
Gross
you win.
sexual crap.
And whoever gets it in the fewest clues wins.
Okay. Here we
And that's the game.
go.
So let's get the music going. We'll start with Speedy with your analytical stat for today.
All right. So the stat I am going with, it is called ADOT. ADOT. It's an abbreviation.
Okay.
Go
What What do I think it is? Well, I think it has something to do with a sport, right? Yes. Okay.
Well, duh.
I got one.
Just give us a guess. Don't play 21 questions.
A
Just give us a guess.
How many dots are on the coach's ass? I have no idea.
All right. Errol does not get the first 0 hint guess correct, so you do not get the 3-point question. Now we're going to transition to Speedy's Errol's question for Speedy.
Vag.
It is the Nebraska slang for vagina.
Why did I get involved in this?
Welcome to Speedy After Dark.
How the hell did I get involved in this? What the hell?
I guess that is correct.
That is correct.
That Speedy, you are tonight's winner of Analytics.
He got you on the first one.
Show up for everybody.
Shaker with the
Let them know. Let them know. Our sponsors need to hear all about it.
You know what? Hold on. I owe Wes a shocker. He did send some pics too. I do owe Wes a shocker.
Well, you got to show that vag, you know?
I did the best I could to show that.
I had to go easy on him on this one. I definitely had. I was questioning if I was going to use that one, but I'll save the good one next week.
Scooch, to answer your question, I have to use it as a sentence. Is a question form is a sentence. Is it the Nebraska slang term for vagina? That is a sentence.
Yeah, I have a question. No.
Yeah.
I want you to use vag in a real sentence. Go ahead. Give me one.
Oh, well.
Technically, that is the rule of the game.
Yes, you have
Let's
to
put the
give
music
me
back on. Hold on.
It's got to be a good one. Go ahead.
Well, have you seen Mikey C on Twitter?
That doesn't work. You got it.
Hold on. I was waiting for the grand entrance here. He's gotten a vag that is a higher ADOT than any NFL wide receiver.
What?
I'm combining both of them. Mikey C's vag.
Look at Speedy.
He has a vag?
No. Mikey sees the girls he likes to hook up with on Twitter.
Speedy, you just did Donald Trump weave.
What?
You just somehow
Donald
did it.
Trump weave?
It was
No.
amazing.
I'm not going to
Reno
that.
Johnny's probably like, what the hell are we talking about?
He wasn't scared off by now. He's clearly entertained.
A full sentence with vag. Come on. That's stupid. Give me a good sentence.
Yeah, Speedy, I can't give you credit for that one. We'll give you a redo, a mulligan for this.
Yes.
But if not, we'll have to give Errol a clue, and he'll keep trying to figure out ADOT, and the games will still
A live
continue.
oyster? Well, the clue is in my sentence, so it has to do with NFL, and it has to do with receiving.
No, Speedy, use it in a sentence. Mulligan means a
I
redo.
just give him a clue.
No, you got to give vag in a full sentence.
No, I know that. I thought you didn't. You just say I have to give him a clue too?
If you do not give it to me in a full sentence.
If I'm not able to use it in a sentence. All right.
Well, he's already
have 10
got the clue
seconds.
now.
All right. Well, Robert Kraft in his massage parlors and his spas has seen at least 50 vages.
That is correct.
That is
correct.
handcrafted, everybody.
Speedy is the winner of the first ever Analytics.
And
That was
is
perfect.
handcrafted. Pain.
I do have to give a shout out to our friend Kevin Mensch for that one. He was the one that came up with that name.
Gross sexual crap.
Oh,
accurate. There it is. Job, I think this is your first time seeing this graphic.
Yeah.
All right. So it's something with wide receivers.
Wide receivers and tight ends, technically, too.
Isn't it something with receiving yards?
Catching per down?
No.
Catching per quarter?
No.
What is it? I'm done. I quit.
Average is A. Depth of target. So it's how deep the target is. So, for example, the Detroit Lions lead, or no, not the Detroit Lions, the Indianapolis Colts lead the league with 10.1 yards per target. So that's how deep the targets go because Anthony Richardson could only throw the ball deep, pretty much.
Well, do you know how to throw anything deep?
Not very well.
Could
Generally, it's telling you how good the guy gets downfield on his routes. Generally.
So what's this called? E-dot?
A-dot.
A-dot.
So you want me to use this in a sentence?
Yeah, go for it. Use the A-dot in a sentence.
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
For the runner-up prize.
Speedy. All right, here's the runner-up. Okay. Speedy knows how to use his A-dot in somebody's vag.
Don't deceive the viewers here.
Gross sexual crap.
Now you're just lying to the viewers.
Is that viable?
It doesn't matter. I'm just surprised that he would lie to his fans like that.
The harder the better, right?
The harder. Whoppers, Speedy.
Well,
Willie Whoppers.
Well,
absolutely.
It is about the depth of your target.
Which is the vag. So I guess the adjective
Hold on.
So, well, for technicality sakes,
Hold on.
Errol,
runner
you
up
and the runner. Oh wait,
hold on. For ceremonial runner up of this debut segment goes to Carl. Speedy's average depth is under 6 inches. That combines both of them very well. Good job, Carl. You could be my co-winner of that.
Oh boy, Carl.
There you go, Carl.
Thickness. Are you a meat bender?
Where is this going? Holy shit. What?
Hey, this is what you wanted.
What have
you
we
guys wanted
created?
Analytics.
What have we
this is my fault.
created?
I apologize.
Wow, that was a good segment.
Holy
and Carl, for that for your comment, you will be forbid from any of my random sentences. I will not use you as
Speedy,
the
just a
victim of
great
any random
performance
sexual
tonight.
scenarios.
You gave 110%, and you didn't hold anything back, and that's why you were able to be so successful.
Well, we all know it's under 6 inches, so
Carl confirms it. Carl is the one that always calls out our rumors, mainly Josh's, but always calls out the rumors. So, Carl, you're 100% right.
well, we don't know if it's a rumor. Speedy, you can only tell us the truth.
No, I'm telling you, Carl is right.
You made an educated guess.
Carl is the co-winner of Analytics.
There you go.
You cannot discredit Carl like that.
So where do we go with this? Where do we go? Is it 3, 4? What do we got?
I don't know.
Is it bigger than your pinky?
No.
Fish, at least lie. I mean, please tell him to at least lie.
Speedy.
You're not disrespecting the co-winner of Analytics, our friend Carl. Carl knows best.
Speedy, you don't have to tell the truth always in situations like this.
Nope, we are lobbying it for Carl. And only Carl.
Well,
that's not
your bravery knows no bounds.
No doubt.
Oh my God. Anyways, that was our first segment of Analytics for tonight. Actually, very interesting. I gave him an easy one, but Speedy answered it with ease, and he has a lot of girth, right?
No, Carl said under 6 inches. Pay attention.
but we're talking about
I
girth.
want you to slide it right in.
We're talking about girth, not length. So,
Yeah, well, girth involves length the other way, so that's also under 6 inches. Everything is under 6 inches.
Well, there you go. It must be really
maybe,
small.
maybe the metric system be more friendly to you, Speedy.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Either way, it's under 6 inches or centimeters, whatever it'll be. And Carl, yes, you could have the nickname Carl Billy Bean Analytics.
Millimeters?
That'd be very microscopic.
After the Nuggets lost to the Knicks yesterday, Mike Malone took shots at the Nuggets starters for their lack of effort and leadership. Malone said that the Nuggets starters should be embarrassed after allowing 145 points and said they need more vocal leadership from Jamal Murray and Russell Westbrook and Nikola Jokic. Malone also praised Tom Thibodeau.
Did I read this?
Go for it, Speedy.
Thinking about what he said. Tom Thibodeau saying that people should stop saying can't coach offense. Jamal Murray also said that the Nuggets lack focus and have not played prepared to opening season. Kendrick Perkins took shots at Murray, saying he hasn't brought his A game all season long. You know about long, right, Speedy?
I don't even know what the hell you said.
The Nuggets are 9-7 right now, tied for 7th in the Western Conference. Well, as long as we know that Speedy's is under 6 inches, we have absolutely no idea how long it's going to take this team to figure things out. That's for damn sure. I have no idea what's going on with the Denver Nuggets. This team going into the season with the talent that they have, with Porter and Murray and Nikola Jokic and the talent that they have. They added Russell Westbrook in the offseason. I'm not saying Russell Westbrook is the old Russell Westbrook, but getting him off the bench, giving you 16 points, giving you about 7 rebounds, and it gives you that athletic ability that you haven't had off the bench in a very long time, you would have thought that this team would have started off strong. Well, guess what? This team is one of the worst teams and having one of the worst starts that this team has had in over 7 years. Nikola Jokic is one of the best players, if not the best player we've seen in the last 10 years. And we compare him to the elite of elite. If you want to ask me right now, in the last 5 years, this guy is by far the best player in the NBA. And when you look at his talent and his ability, it makes no sense how this team right now has started the season 9-7. With the ability this guy has and what he brings to the table, this guy with his size, his length, his ability to pass, and what he could do on the court, creating double teams and sometimes even triple teams when he's in the paint, makes no sense whatsoever. It just shows you what is going on as far as their secondary offense. Jamal Murray, who has a tremendous amount of talent, this guy has been one of the elite point guards in the league before he hurt his knee. And then it took him 2 years to get back to full strength. And then he hurt his knee again last year, and it took him weeks to get back, and he couldn't really produce in the playoffs. It's a big problem. Jamal Murray plays a big part of this offense. If Jamal Murray is not at 110%, this team doesn't stand a chance in the Western Conference. The Western Conference has always been top heavy. And with the way Golden State is playing, the way the Lakers are playing, the Timberwolves haven't even played at the top of their game yet. And there are quite a few teams right now that are starting to figure things out. Ja Morant is back. Mm-hmm. I mean, this Western Conference could really take off. And you do not want to fall behind the teams that are ahead of you. I'm telling you right now, and you're going to hear a lot of stirs when it comes to the coaching position. There are quite a few good coaches that are available right now that are looking to, get this job. And I don't know if it's going to happen in the middle of the season. I think they're going to ride and die with Mike Malone until the end of the season. But Mike Malone, if he doesn't get this team to the finals this year, And not even a Western Conference Finals. I'm talking about the finals. Mike Malone's going to be looking for another job and another job quick.
Because you talk about the depth of the Western Conference. We've seen teams regress at certain points when it looked like they have this big like underdog type year. And then if it speaks to the depth of the conference, the way it's become. It used to be just the Warriors were always in the finals for 5 straight years. And all of a sudden, since after that, we've seen a lot of parity. We've seen the Lakers, we've seen the Suns, etc. And the Nuggets are one of those teams that took advantage winning a championship. Both you and I thought were going to repeat last year, and they fell short in the playoffs. But I think this kind of thing is something that Mike Malone has to be weary of when it comes to don't get on the players' bad side. A lot of these players are veteran players. Like we talk about NBA coaches having the most fragile relationships with a lot of these players. Now, I don't think the Nuggets have a lot of those types of stars, but Jamal Murray had the comments last year against the Timberwolves. He was being adamant when he was throwing the mouthpiece and stuff like that. He can be a little bit of a hothead at times. And then Nikola Jokic is a humble star, but Aaron Gordon's vocal, Michael Porter's vocal. So you can't let it get worse than it already is. I'm not worried about them yet, but just to jump the gun.
In basketball, it really doesn't matter about the coach. Let's be honest. If the team's not playing well, they're going to blame one person. They're going to blame the coach. That's what they're going to do. It's all about the talent. If you have the talent, you can win. And we've said this, Speedy, many, many times. In Jabba, we've spoke about this off air. In basketball, if you have 2 elite players at their positions, you're absolutely making the playoffs, and you're going to probably be a top 4 team in your conference. They have the best player in the world, and they have Jamal Murray, who should be a top 5 point guard in the league. He just really hasn't been that over the last 2 seasons. That's been the big problem. If Jamal Murray doesn't figure this out fast, Malone's going to be looking for a job, and he is going to be looking for a new job next year because he could be out of the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, and they're struggling to find veteran depth to play defense as well, especially in the backcourt. Murray's a good defensive guard. He hasn't been that way either. They lost a couple of wing guys, and it's really hurt them.
You saw him in the Olympics.
Yeah.
He didn't look good in the Olympics with Team Canada. He looked horrible. Just think about that. Good.
And that's the thing, though, too. You look at, like, when we talk about this, and we'll keep this short, at the same time, when Jokic is on the court, they're the greatest offensive team based upon numbers-wise. When he's not on the court, they're the worst. So have somebody else step up and do what Jamal Murray's supposed to do, right? And then you got Michael Porter too as well. Like, why aren't they doing that when Jokic is not on the court? Like, you have to step up and take care of these things when he's off the court. Like, he can only do so much, and we've obviously seen what he's done. But at the end of the day, if he's not on the court, it's proven that numbers wise that he's the literally whole team. Step up, boys. Like, you have the opportunity. You know you can step up. That's it.
Just think about this. Jamal Murray's numbers, when he is an elite player, he's averaging about 20 to 21 points a game. This year, he's averaging 17 points. That's almost 4 points under the dominance of his point guard position. And he's a shutdown defender, like Speedy says. Right now, if you look at the NFL, at the NBA PFF in rankings and numbers on him when he's on the court, he's giving up every single time somebody's coming down on him. They're scoring once every 3 times. That's not good. And again, when you look at where the Denver Nuggets are and what the Denver Nuggets need to contend with in the Western Conference, because the Western Conference is much better than they have been over the last 3 seasons. You have a lot of good teams, and even Utah has a tremendous amount of talent. Now, obviously, it's a slow start for Utah, but they have a tremendous amount of talent. They have an elite player in Markkanen. So again, every single team in the Western Conference has at least one elite player.
Then it's still early, though. It's still early.
Yeah, but it's bad.
I got some worse stats for Murray for you. He is shooting about 40% from the field, and he's taking the most threes on his team, 2 more threes than Jokic a game, and he's only hitting 33% of his 3-pointers, which is not going to cut it in today's NBA. To compare it, Russell Westbrook's hitting 38. So you're not shooting as good as Westbrook. Westbrook's doing much better in a more limited role. Let's face it, he's not chucking the ball like he used to. But Westbrook in his worst years, that's what he was shooting. And that's what you have from Jamal Murray right now. And Jamal Murray, his athleticism can never be confused with Russell Westbrook's athleticism. The guy had a knee. He doesn't look like he's the same guy after the knee. I think that's what you're looking at. And they paid him all that money. They didn't pay Caldwell Pope. They didn't pay Reggie Jackson. They have no depth. Those guys from the championship team are gone. And now you have Jokic and a bunch of other guys. And that's what it shows. And now they're about a little better than 500 because that's how good Jokic is. But they paid the wrong dude in Murray. I mean, he was throwing towels onto the court. Remember that? We did a story on it.
He was one of your best
tripped on
graphics,
it.
the Mario Kart one.
That's right. You remember that? Speedy got amazing memory.
It's one of my favorites.
With an analytical mind like you, Speedy, it's no surprise.
There's no question. He's got an analytic mind. That's for damn sure. Especially 6 inches smaller than anybody else's. That's for
Stop.
sure.
We don't need to hear about that again. I'm going to start crying again because I'm laughing too hard.
What do we got? One more basketball thing, guys?
UConn got upset yesterday by Memphis 99-97 in a game where Danny Hurley was not happy about the referees. This came after a foul on a rebound with the game tied at 92, leading to 2 free throws for Memphis. Hurley received a technical foul and called the referees and the calls disgusting. Hurley did not apologize for his actions and vulgar language and said the referees have to be held accountable more often. Neither the Big East or the NCAA is expected to suspend Hurley for his actions. Well, that's what happens when you're a superstar championship coach who's won back-to-back titles. That's the only reason why Danny Hurley is not going to be suspended or fined for what he said. If it was anybody else, he would have been fined and suspended by the NCAA. He's very loved by the NCAA because guess what? He puts money in their pockets. UConn obviously is starting off a little slow this year, as we see. I don't expect it to continue. This is a team that has a tremendous amount of talent. They had a very good recruiting class this offseason. And I expect UConn to make a run in the national in the NCAA tournament. I expect them. I don't know if they're a number 1 seed. They'll probably be a number 2 or number 3 seed. That works out for them anyways. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, they don't really need to be. And when they figure things out, and Danny Hurley is a very good defensive mind, he will obviously get this team playing at the top of their game. Now, as far as what he is saying and how he says it, this is the Hurley family. If anybody knows who his father is and anybody knows who his brother is, they're very outspoken. Okay, that's the facts. I've been rooting for the Hurley family since I grew up. I'm a Bobby Hurley fan. I grew up a Duke fan. I've lived and slept Bobby Hurley basketball. So I know the type of personality he is. He had to deal with Christian Laettner, okay, when he played for Duke. And that guy's got the biggest mouth, and he was the biggest, catastrophe when it comes to an NBA superstar player, because he wasn't. But as an NCAA player for Duke, he was a sensational player. But nevertheless, I think UConn will still be an elite team. I think UConn will be a dangerous team when they get into the tournament. As far as the referees concerned, don't leave it to the referees. If you want or you believe that you're the best team, which I know UConn and Danny Hurley believes nobody can beat him, and he is the best coach in the NCAA, well, don't leave it up to the referees. Mm-hmm. And then this wouldn't happen. So crying me a river. This is a guy that's won back-to-back national championships and wants to do something that how many coaches in NCAA history has ever done?
Yeah.
Winning 3.
Yeah. Before I get to my comment,
I'm not going to cry.
Carl says UConn losing back-to-back. Oh, so they lost tonight, too. Wow, that's crazy. So they lose to Memphis.
Yeah, they lost back-to-back games.
Wow, so that's something. I don't know who they lost to. If Carl could comment on that, that'd be good to see the context. But nevertheless, you wonder if he's trying to get that star treatment, too. You talked about it with, like, other coach, Colorado. Thank you, Scoops. You wonder if he's trying to get that star treatment like these other top coaches, too, that he's a 2-time national championship, too. Because obviously we've seen that with Coach K and John Calipari, coaches like that have won multiple championships, get that kind of reputation. And still good college basketball coaches now today are still not getting that, even if they're hotheads. Think about Juwan Howard when he was at Michigan. Like he got ejected from a couple of games. Obviously, he got fired for what he did after that. And then you've seen even with like coach something like Auburn, Bruce Pearl is a hothead too, and he's gotten in a lot of trouble at Auburn and Tennessee and a lot of the spots he's been with. They don't get that kind of reputation. I think Hurley wants to try to get that kind of reputation, and saying this kind of thing prove your point. I had to limit the language when I was giving you the thing to read, but Fish has it in the graphic, like what he really called the refs, and like that's a pretty extreme level that he's going to, and that's not going to help you get that kind of reputation in the future. Now, like Errol's saying, UConn doesn't necessarily need it because they won every tournament game by double digits in both their tournament runs, which is crazy. But still, it's not going to help you get a reputation as with these referees if you do get a bigger job or you get an NBA job. You almost got an NBA job with the Lakers, and
he'll have one in 2 years.
Yeah, and we were both saying that at the time. Like that's not going to help your case of getting on their side either, especially in the NBA where it's a player-run league.
As Bill Self's about to get ejected for saying this is BS effing BS, as Dickinson just got thrown out of the game against Duke. And listen to you guys, like, and you know what it references to me is Bobby Knight.
Yep.
In that aspect of what it is, right? And he's already proven of what he's done, and he's great at what he's done. But is he setting a precedent in the aspect of what it is to like be that new era Bobby Knight? Which, because we all loved him. I mean, we all loved Jerry Tarkanian for chewing on his towel, right? Like we all love that, and we understand all that stuff. But when it comes down to it, it's like now he's made a name for himself, and like we look at all these guys and how they are and what they are. Do they try to do something to set themselves apart from everybody else? Good or bad. Good or bad. And we may think it's good. We may think some people may think it's bad, right? But I think in the aspect of what he said, do I think he needed to drop vulgarities in that aspect? No. Like, I don't mind when you're literally saying these things in aspect, but like when you drop words like that, that's unacceptable. And you have to know that you're going to be documented. You're going to be talked about. This is what it's going to be. But understand being different and being great are two different things. But if you're going to do that, do you want to be that new one tossing chairs and like?
Do you think he should be held accountable for what he said?
Yes, 100%.
You do. So you think he should be fined and suspended by the NCAA?
Yes, 100%.
Speedy, do you think he should be fined?
I do so.
You have to be accountable.
How about you, Fish?
Well, I usually think they do like how many times has he done something like this for suspensions, but I think a fine is probably warranted. If it's the first time he's ever had any offense like this in any part of his career, I think you give him a warning that the next time he gets suspended. But he also should be issuing a better apology than he did. It was a really poor word choice. He wasn't wrong about the officiating.
No, he wasn't.
You know, and when I first started coaching, I yelled a lot, and you yell less every year until you get comfortable in your own skin as a coach, I think. But especially, at least in football. But I also yelled a lot at officials, and I didn't get a lot of calls because I yelled at a lot of officials. It wasn't until I chilled out a little bit and started schmoozing those guys that I started getting calls. And sometimes you got to kill them with kindness. I remember one time I was so mad at an official. You know, in The Godfather, when Sonny bites his hand like that and he just turns around and walks away. I had to do stuff like that because I was just a psychopath out there.
I love
you have no idea.
And I know exactly what part he was doing when he was biting his fist. You know?
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, but you're so right, Fish, in that aspect too. Like, and that's the same thing of me trying to get calls with an umpire. It's like, hey, don't show me up or don't call me an asshole or whatever it is, but don't show me up. And now it's like, how do you do that, right? Like, how do you balance that with getting calls and trying not to get calls or do whatever where that happens? And those are things that we as coaches, as players and whatever, like we have to create a rapport, right? And he's already built a rapport in who he is. But in the same time, he still has to understand, like, there are certain words you can use. There's certain words you can't use, right? Like,
I can tell you suck ass, but there are certain words that I'm not going to say because it's not going to get me anywhere that is going to better this game or give us calls, right? And I think he hasn't done it before. I think he uses the wrong rhetoric in that aspect of what he said, and that is a word I will never use, but it's part of what it is.
Well,
And
first of all, I disagree. He has done it before. It just hasn't been out there because he took. Did you see what he did to Edie in the national championship? I don't know if you read lips, but he was provoking Edie. And this guy is the most quietest, basketball player. And Purdue, we all understand what Purdue did and Zach Edey, who made that run. But I don't. If you read lips of what he was doing on the basketball court when timeouts are going, he was saying vulgar things to Zach Edey. And Zach
guess
Edey
what sport
didn't
Zach
respond
Edey
to it.
started out though?
I'm sorry?
Guess what sport Zach Edey started out playing?
Baseball.
In Canada.
Baseball, wow.
Yep.
7-foot baseball player. That would definitely set the record.
Yep.
Not necessarily Randy Johnson.
No, Randy Johnson
he was
wasn't 7 foot.
He was 6'10".
6'10" or something.
Yeah.
That's not
Not
okay.
7.
You want to go? You know who the tallest player that's
I
ever
think
played?
I do. I think I do. It was an ex-Nationals pitcher, John Roush, I think it was.
Minnesota Twins.
Twins, okay.
Ended with the Nationals. You're right, Speedy.
Yeah, I remember
Yep.
him with the Nationals, yeah.
They said that Walter Johnson was super tall, like in ancient times in baseball, like the Washington. I guess that was Washington team also
Senators,
all the
I
way
think.
back
The
then.
Senators.
Yeah.
But
it
he
probably
was-
helps having that kind of an arm slot coming from way out of nowhere from left side like that. Can you? I'm Jabba. Who was the craziest arm slot you ever saw? The throwing, just like some crazy delivery. You don't know how anyone ever hit him.
Damasio Marte.
Well,
and think about this. It literally, Chris Young went to Princeton. He's 6'10". He didn't throw a fastball over 92 miles an hour. You would think that would create leverage, right? No, he just pitched. That's what they did. Like, we didn't have that. I mean, I was 6'3" when I pitched, and yeah, I threw 100, but it's just different, and it's all those things that are weird, and we are 100% getting off topic right now.
Yeah.
But
I
at
didn't
the-
ask you the question.
Well, yeah, I know, but at the same,
I was waiting for you to attack me.
Well, I can do that all the time. It's fine.
I asked it because for the
attack you
first
too.
time in our career, Errol, we are on time with the show and actually had a couple of spare minutes.
Look at that.
Yeah,
So
Can
we
you
actually
believe it?
do.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I mean,
We accomplished what we've been working towards is somehow being on time.
But Carl's in our chat too, and Bob Gibson was a beast. Yeah, but his arm slot was normal. It wasn't like it was anything out of range. I think the first one we ever saw was Randy Johnson at 6'10" coming low 3/4. That was like one of the craziest ones we've seen. I mean, you look at the brothers, the relievers that played on the Giants together, and one's literally scraping the ground sidearm. Like, you see stuff like that, but
Oh, Roger. Yeah, there were two Rogers.
Oh,
yeah.
how about Kimbrel? How about Kimbrel? The way he throws. I mean, that's
no. You're looking at his this. Like, no,
that's weird, man. I mean, seriously.
but it's not the way he delivers the baseball.
It's the way
Like
he
Trevor,
hides the ball. It's the way he hides the ball.
Trevor Rodgers and like literally Trevor Rodgers is almost literally scraping the ground when he delivers a pitch.
I remember. I'm a Mets fan. I remember my first year watching baseball.
I would say
was like I got so freaked out by the way Chad Bradford was pitching, and I'm like, okay,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
actually normal.
How about
Yeah,
El
he
Duque?
was like one of the
How about
first.
El Duque?
I was going to say El Duque with the knee. Just
No, that was just his delivery.
Yeah, but
he's saying for hiding the ball though. That's what I thought they were talking about.
Hey, listen, and
Well, and
everybody.
he had to do that too because he had more than 6 inches. Let's just put it that way.
I would hope so.
He had a lot more than that, and that
You
was
got to use the pipe. Is that what you're saying?
they literally had to tell him to wear a jockstrap so it wouldn't be profound in his baseball pants.
Speedy, you like that, right?
That was not my what's that smell.
You know, I got to reach out to Duke. He could send me his jockstrap. I'll have him sign it for you.
Now that's a souvenir.
I don't think it would
One
fit.
for the ages. Hey, Java, you got to go.
Before we go,
Wearing
Java,
his suspenders.
Carl has a question for you. Did Hideo Nomo get any advantage from turning his back and hesitating?
I think he was different when he first came in because it was completely different. I think it was. Obviously he had an incredible career, and I think it was just something that he brought in that was different, and where you brought those Japanese guys in and you see like hesitations, like playing with those guys and how they do certain things. I think they definitely did change. And then you see like how Johnny Cato has done that as well, right? Like where he's changed things. And where did that come from? We didn't see that early, right? And then when we got the absolute greatest thing that we get in from the baseball side of it is the Japanese conglomerate of how they did things different, right? And now they present something where guys like my son does it, like where he has hesitation and delivery and the windup and stuff like that. So I really do think it did change. And I think Nomo obviously was part of it. I mean, because then you had a Rabu, God rest his soul, and you had all the guys come after him, and were fortunate enough to play with a lot of them and to see how they kind of change things. And I think it just adds such a different dynamic to the game where it makes it all better. And we all try to conform to something to make us better. That's really what we do.
Speedy, you look like a stick figure every time you sit like that.
I'm a thin person.
He's like,
okay.
He sits up. He's like this.
Well, we're not at 4 hours. Holy shit.
No.
Good work,
There you
boys.
go. Well, that's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, there. Climb the mountain, Speedy. Please climb it up. All 3 inches of it, right? Width,
Under
length.
6 inches.
Under 6. So what do we got?
Under 6.
Well, give us a number.
3.489.
Wow. That's an interesting size. And any girth to it?
Diameter?
3.712.
That's good too, then.
That's
really
like a
good.
Campbell soup can.
Yeah, that's really good.
Anyway,
Not embracing it.
Anyways, that's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank, obviously, Trevor Pryce for joining us. He was fantastic. Gave us some good takes. So if you guys missed it, definitely go check out Spotify or Apple Podcast. Download the show. All you got to do is find us at Jabba in the Mouth. Obviously, you go to TikTok and YouTube, Jabba in the Mouth. For some of the shorts, some of the posts that we have over the next couple of days. Speedy will have them all posted, so definitely go check that out. And ladies and gentlemen, we will be back on Monday. Yes, it'll be Monday and Wednesday next week. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Eat a lot of turkey, and hopefully we got to get a chance to watch a lot of good football. I don't know if you will, but hey, maybe we'll get lucky over the Thursday. What is it? 3 games on Thursday?
Games.
Yeah, three games. So it'll be fun. But the Cowboys and Cooper Rush are playing. I mean, Trey Lance is probably going to be the quarterback.
Let's correct it. 2.5 games. The other was Cowboys Giants.
Yeah, that's true. That's nothing to sniff about. But hey, you Giant fans have something to look at. Tommy DeVito. Oh, I'm sorry, Drew Lock.
We do have a tie game between Kansas and Duke right now.
Yes, I'm watching the game. And by the way, how is Duke the 11th ranking right now in the NCAA?
They were favored, by the way.
Yeah, but they're 11th, and Kansas is the number 1 ranking, and they're 5-0, and Duke is 4-1. That doesn't make any sense. I guess.
And
by the
Leighton was in our chat, and he was like, "How are they favored?"
Yeah, because he hates Duke. That's why. Anyways,
no, he's a Duke guy.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. Oh, that's my flag. I mean, Cooper flag. Anyways, thank you to all the fans. Thank you for tuning in to us as always. We will be back on Monday and Wednesday. It's hard doing back-to-back days. It really is, especially when we're signed, we'll be doing 5 days a week. But when you're doing back-to-back days and you have a full day worth of all the crazy stuff that I have to do. It is crazy. It's a long day, but happy to entertain you guys. And who do we have on next week? Do we have anything?
We have Wednesday, former Marlins pitcher Justin Nicolino will be joining us, and he has a company as well. I'll promote that next week. Nothing yet for Monday, though.
All right, so there you go. A lot of surprises as the new year starts to break through. So tune in and keep listening to Jabba and the Mouth. Until next week, this is Errol Marks, Jabba Chamberlain, Mr. Speedy Petey, Aaron Fishman, and Scoops. Or Tommy Scooper or Scoopy, 1-inch wiener, Speedy Petey. We will be back next week. Good night, everybody.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.